All right, guys, we're here on set. It's some kind of abandoned factory. It reminds me of Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock's hangout. And Tom Holland's about to do a stunt right now. There he goes.
It's time to hack the movies. Today, we're talking about tapes with Tony and Justin and this other person.
Hey, Kieran. Hey, Justin. Are you excited to talk about Spider-Man?
Yes.
Yeah, I love Spider-Man.
Real quick, Kieran, that's a lovely denim vest. Can you give us the backstory on it?
Well, I was watching Jeff Bezos flying around in his spaceship the other day, and when they came back, this weird goopy, black stuff crawled off the spaceship and crawled onto me and turned my vest black.
Well, that would have been really cool for the Spider-Man 3 review. Unfortunately, we're doing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about this movie. I think we all love it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
I got big news, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, you know how in a Justin Silverman production, when you want Spider-Man, you get some guy named Marshall and put him in a costume and you think you just call it a day? I got Tobey Maguire coming in right now to be in the episode.
Toby Maguire.
The Tobey Maguire. I think he's swinging in right now. Oh my God, Tobey Maguire just died. He died in the store. Holy no, my God.
Good Lord.
This is a tragedy. Well, let's honor his memory by talking about the movie.
Okay.
Okay, so Spider-Man, starring the late Tobey Maguire. I saw this movie like a million times when it came out. I saw it
twice. I saw it twice in theaters.
Yeah.
I owned it on VHS, and then I owned it on DVD.
Justin, do you have any theater stories about this movie?
Yeah, actually. I worked at the theater when this came out.
Oh, how was that?
It was during 9/11. And the problem with this movie was it has the World Trade Center in it.
Yes.
So they delayed the movie and they made us take down all the posters.
And I wanted this to be the one review that didn't mention 9/11, but here we are. Keep going.
So they got rid of all the posters, and it was kind of a mad dash for everyone at the theater to get the 9/11, like the World Trade Center poster, and Nuke got it, I believe.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, not like that's cool. Not like 9/11 is cool. I mean, like, it's cool that poster exists, and it's like a piece of history in a way.
So what was opening night like for this movie?
Pretty good, I believe.
Oh, apparently Newt said like all the managing staff quit.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell a story.
I think I took off that day to see the movie. Like, literally, like, I took off.
So
Wow.
the managing staff of the theater quit.
Yeah.
You guys were in charge, and you took off.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot back then.
I wonder why. How's that Guinness going?
Good. I remember I walked out of episode 2. That was around the same time.
Yeah, it
That
came
was
out
pretty
just
smart.
near it, actually.
That was pretty smart.
I got in a fight with my mom about this movie because I was like, Ma, Spider-Man is coming out, and I really want to go see it in theaters. And Mom was like, okay, and I was like, can we go on Friday? I want to see it opening night. I have to see it opening night, Mom. I saw X-Men opening night, and so she was like, okay, whatever. And then she didn't get out of work until like 6, and she was like, I'm not taking you to see Spider-Man. And I was like, what? Mom! God damn it, Mom. Like, I was like 14 and I was an angsty white kid. And what ended up happening was my one friend was going to see it anyway, so it didn't matter. But it was like my mom was just like, I'm not taking you. Like, I'm tired and I'm not going to take you when I get out of work. And I was sad because I did all this stuff too. So my mom would take me. Like, I washed
That
the
is
car,
the worst, when
I
you
mowed
actually
the
do the
lawn,
chores
I did
for
all the
once.
chores that I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. Like, my mom was like, we had to like rip wallpaper down at one point. I peeled
That
up
sucks.
I peeled up the carpet in my room the weekend before. I got pretty sick because dogs had lived there before and just pissed all over the carpet. So I was breathing in piss fumes that were years old. So I got very sick. And then my mom was like, yeah, I'm not taking you. And I flipped out a bit. But my friend took me anyway, so it was cool. We all went and saw it. I also got a sweet episode of PlayStation Magazine that day with Dante
Nice.
from Devil May Cry on the cover.
Nice.
You know, I think... How's your mom doing nowadays?
My mom?
Yeah.
Great.
I think you should put her in a home.
Oh, my God.
and be like, "That's for Spider-Man."
For Spider-Man. I got a feature role in Spider-Man.
I remember me and my dad went to see this. And then my mom and sister, I saw it a second time with them. And I think I saw it with friends afterwards. And then I got a bootleg VHS and I watched the shit out of it. And then a friend of mine's sister stole it.
You know,
really
mentioning bootlegs, it's funny because me and my friend, the same friend I went and saw this movie with, you know, this was at the time where it took a while for DVDs to come out and everything.
Yeah.
So my friend's sister was a flight attendant. She used to fly to China all the time. And she used to just buy wads of bootleg DVDs. And one of them was Spider-Man. So we were like, holy shit, we can watch Spider-Man. Let's watch Spider-Man one night. So we watched it. All the audio was in Chinese. It was the Chinese voice actors over with English subtitles, but the English subtitles were horribly translated. Like Flash Thompson was named Fess. Peter Parker, anytime they say just Pete or Peter, his name was Peter Pak. Peter Pak. P-I-T-A-P-A-K, all one word.
A Peter Pak?
Peter
Like a
Pak.
Peter Pocket?
They always called him Peter Pak. Uncle Ben was Uncle Peng. And the part where she's outside getting yelled at by her parents and she's talking to Peter and she says like, oh, you're a lot taller than you look. And he's like, I hunch. When they translated it, it just says, you're a lot higher than you look. And he just says, I have crooked back. And that's all. And we were just like, what?
I hope when he tells that story, you just put the subtitles on the scene. I have crooked back.
I have crooked back. That's literally what it said. We were laughing about it for days.
Yeah, so there was a long road to get a Spider-Man movie made. I mean, they dabbled with live action with the Japanese one, and then the
I love
70s
Japanese
show.
Spider-Man, yeah.
The short-lived 70s show. Canon Pictures tried to... Oh, no. Yes. No. Roger Corman tried to make one first.
Oh, like the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, but years before. He couldn't get off the ground, so Canon Pictures bought the rights to Spider-Man for less than $300,000.
Wow.
That's what comic book rights used to
Yeah,
go.
nobody gave a shit
after
back
Spider-Man,
then.
after Superman 3, people were like, all right, we don't fucking care anymore. Yeah, but the problem is, Golan and Globus, your people, they were not sure what Spider-Man was. They thought he was a monster. They thought it was like the Wolfman. So they bought the
Wow.
rights not knowing he was a superhero.
Well, he is a monster to his enemies.
I guess
Yeah.
so. So they got a guy, Leslie
monster.
Stevens, to write a Spider-Man script based off that. Let's see. Peter Parker got bombarded with radiation by the fiendish Dr. Zork.
Zork?
We know the famous... What issue of Spider-Man did Dr. Zork show up
I don't
in?
know, but they should put him into like a movie as like
Yeah.
as
I'm pretty
a
sure
good
Zork
nod.
is a text-based
yeah,
video game.
Yeah.
Those old ones for like the Apple II and
So
stuff. I
he
think, or
mutates Peter
Commodore.
into a part man, part tarantula. And this monster Spider-Man has to fight an army of mutants. And the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Toby Hooper, would have directed.
So they never heard of Spider-Man up until this point and just had to make a story about
Have you
him?
seen Canon Pictures?
No,
They were
I don't
two guys
know.
from Israel. When they came to America, they remade one of their movies, but they like didn't update it for American audiences. So there's all this random Israeli stuff that American audience were like, why is he bringing oranges to the hospital for his girlfriend?
What
Like,
else did Canon Pictures do? Didn't they like?
Masters of the Universe?
Okay,
Superman
yeah.
4?
Okay.
Like, yeah. Their movies are great. I have their package
So
there.
was this? They were doing this during the '80s, or was this
Yeah,
going to be?
they would have
okay.
been during the 80s, and I think
Ooh.
the American Ninja guy was going to play Spider-Man.
Oh,
So that didn't happen. So then they got two other guys to rewrite it, Ted Newsom and John Brancato. In this one, Spider-Man would have fought Professor Octopus, who I believe calls himself Spider-Man in the movie. His catchphrase was "Okie dokie," and he had a sidekick called Wiener. And I think they went to space and fought each other for a bit.
That sounds right.
So
I kind of want that movie.
So we didn't get Professor Octopus
Professor
and
Octopus
Wiener.
and Wiener versus Spider-Man. I love it. I
So
can see it now.
so then James Cameron showed up
Wow.
and he wrote a scriptment for it. It was like a script treatment thing. He kind of took the previous script but changed a lot. He obviously Wiener was gone. It was going to be an edgy, R-rated Spider-Man with a Spider-Man who cursed a lot. He was going to fight Sandman and Electro, but the characters would have been completely rewritten. They weren't going to have their names. And he would have had sex with Mary Jane on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Nice.
The thing is, he introduced the idea of organic web shooters, which stayed all the way until the final product.
I like the idea of like Spider-Man being like, "Fuck you, shit,
We're gonna fuck on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
asshole, Aunt May, you bitch," or something like
Yeah,
I don't know.
He throws the middle finger when he does the. Yeah.
So during this, so Golan and Globus, I think they had a split or something. Eventually, the rights for Spider-Man were all over the place, and people were suing the shit out of each other.
Wow.
Because at that same time, David Fincher, from Alien 3, he was going to make a Spider-Man movie based off the night Gwen Stacy died, but he didn't want to do an origin story. So the first 10 minutes of the movie were apparently going to be a rock opera, all done in one shot, which would have told the story of how he became Spider-Man within 10 minutes.
Wow.
That sounds kind of cool.
Does sound kind of cool.
Wow, that's weird.
But that isn't what people were into back then. And finally, the script came into the hands of David Cope, who wrote Jurassic Park and Lost World Jurassic Park. He's the
Okay.
guy who gets eaten by the T-Rex running away in Lost World Jurassic Park.
Oh, which one?
In Lost World Jurassic Park, when the T-Rex is in the city,
Yeah.
that one guy tries to run to
the
it.
guy
That's
who
David
gets-
Cope.
Okay, cool.
When he get killed at the video store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he took Cameron's script, he changed it, he got rid of Electro and Sandman. He wrote in, Arnold Schwarzenegger would have been Dr. Octopus in Cameron's version to set up for the next one.
That would have been kind of neat.
I added Arnold to the set over there. Terminator 3 Arnold.
Yeah, I'm not looking at it.
I'm back.
Okay. He changed Sandman and Electro to Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin. Then Sam Raimi came on. Is like, let's just do Green Goblin, which I think was smart.
Yeah, I agree.
An origin for both of those guys in one movie, that would have been too
I mean,
fucking
that's
much.
the thing. Like, I think Green Goblin was a really good choice because I think Green Goblin was the most recognizable Spider-Man enemy other than Doc Ock. But like, you don't want to lead with who's seen as like Dr. Octopus. I feel like is the
Build up to
arch enemy.
Yeah.
I think more than even Green Goblin
And then,
sometimes.
and like I said, Sam Raimi kept the organic web shooters because he thought it'd be a stretch for Peter to suddenly know how to make this technology, which is the one thing the MCU had no problem with because it
Yeah.
was introduced so late where we're already used to a world full of gadgets and
but that's the thing
Iron
is, like,
Man and shit.
Spider-Man was always supposed to be like kind of a mechanical engineer. Like that
Yeah.
was like his thing. And then he's just a kid who had that knowledge who happened to get bit because he was, it was like one of those like, the reason why he was in that situation was because he was going for science and he was in a sciencey class.
In this, he's just on a field
yeah,
trip.
he's just on a field trip.
He is
but-
into science in it, but
Yeah.
like an asshole. We'll talk about that. I got to bone the pick
I'm
with
somewhat
him.
of a scientist myself.
So yeah, apparently there's
Or
like
something of a scientist.
Alan Sargent, Academy Award-winning writer Alan Sargent came in, wrote the dialogue. So basically, David Cope is the only credited writer, but this takes elements from like 4 other people, including James Cameron. So a lot of people fucking worked on
And
this.
it even has what's his name, Wiener, in the movie too. They
Yeah, which one
included
was
him
Wiener?
in this one. He was the guy that gets thrown through the window. He was a real
Oh, was that-
wiener.
was that
They were
Wiener?
like, well, we're not going to name him Wiener. We're just going to make the character a big wiener.
There is a part of the movie where Peter Parker references his giant wiener.
There is.
I'm not joking. We'll talk
There
about
is.
it.
There is. Yeah, so it was cool to see Sam Raimi, mostly a horror guy. This is when he's experimenting later on.
Well, it's post Darkman.
Post Darkman, which is where like
and
he
it
first
definitely
started
has
dabbling.
like the scene where they show Oscorp for the first time. Totally looks like a scene
Yeah.
out of Darkman.
I think we mentioned in our Darkman review, there's a couple scenes that reminded me of Spider-Man later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into the movie proper here. Danny Elfman's score is still great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good.
A lot of times it sounds like Darkman or Batman, but and Beetlejuice, but
A little
it's
bit.
Danny Elfman.
The CGI opening title sequence is a little bit dated.
Yeah. Honestly, all the CGI in the movie is a little bit dated,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it works for that time. I think.
miss seeing like opening credit sequences though.
Yeah.
They don't really do them anymore. They save it for the end.
The Marvel ones kind of got you to do like the end credit.
It's every movie.
I think that's
basically.
the thing is though they want you to see the end credits more so than the beginning because that's where everybody.
Well, no, I
is,
think they
you
just
know?
want to get into the movie.
That's true,
You
yeah.
have to have like the union says you have to have 2 credit sequence. So a lot of times they just put both at the end.
Yeah.
That's why you get like
I-
the cool animated one, and then you get the basic
I always think it's
one.
weird when I'm watching like older movies and all the credits are at the beginning and then the movie's just the end and it's like
Yeah.
it shows
Oh,
like
really old
12
ones.
people
Yeah, yeah.
and it's and that's it.
There's
you
also
know?
something with streaming services where people have to watch a certain amount for it to count as an actual view.
Yeah.
Like I think on Spotify for music it's 30 seconds. or what doesn't count, or you don't get the royalties for it or whatever. So that might be how movies
Oh,
work
so that's
too.
why
Yeah.
they probably added post-credit sequences
Yeah.
and stuff to keep you like
Watching,
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it starts with opening narration from the late Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker. And I thought this was supposed to be like, you know how Spider-Man has constant internal monologue?
Yeah.
Well, most superheroes do, but he's kind of known for it. I thought that's what they were going to do because we were watching the Spider-Man cartoon at
Yeah.
the time, and he's constantly
Spider-Verse
monologuing.
or
No,
do
no,
you
no,
mean-
no,
oh,
I
you
mean
mean
like
the
back in the
cartoon.
90s.
The 90s one,
the
yeah.
Spider Blood.
Yeah, I
So
love
they
that
inter-
one.
they
It's
introduce it here, and then he doesn't do it again until the very end. I thought that was
Yeah.
very odd. Also, who's he telling this story to? I thought that was weird. Kirsten Dunst plays Mary Jane,
Yep.
who's kind of mixed with Gwen Stacy. They kind of put
Yeah.
those two characters together.
But then Gwen Stacy is in the third movie.
yeah, which is confusing.
Yeah.
And Joe Manganiello
Yep.
is
Pee Wee
Flash.
Herman's
Yeah.
best friend.
Deathstroke
Deathstroke, yeah.
from that post-credit scene of Justice League.
yeah.
Yeah, that one. He shows up as Flash Thompson, and Tobey Maguire's in his mid-20s and barely looks like he's in high school.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one thing was I used to, at this point too, I used to always get him mixed up with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Which is funny because
At the
they were
time,
eventually
yeah.
in the movie Brothers, where they played
and
brothers.
and also Jake Gyllenhaal was Mysterio in a Spider-Man
I
movie
did like that
eventually.
because I remember there was going to be a contract negotiation for the second one, and they were going to bring in Jake Gyllenhaal. So I like that he ended up in a movie eventually.
Oh, Tobey Maguire, he did the narration in Boss Baby.
Oh, he did.
Very similar.
Don't mention Boss Baby.
What's wrong with Boss Baby?
Boss Baby is one of my failures. Yes, yes. Though you didn't help. Anyway, the bus driver ignoring Peter was very relatable.
Yeah, but I don't
Why?
think
What happened to you?
When I went to Father Judge High School, there were two big bus stops at opposite ends of this street. And there were a few, like, you know, smaller ones at the ends of some streets. And there was one bus driver that hated Father Judge students. I don't know why. I don't know what we ever did to him. But if we weren't at the two main ones that he couldn't ignore, he would just blow right past us in between. So I would have to, like, chase the bus multiple blocks because the guy was a fucking asshole.
Wow.
So I really related to this. I really don't know why what his deal
you know
was.
if that happened nowadays, I'm pretty sure like it would be, you know, there would be an article you're scrolling down Facebook and it's like, mom sues school because bus driver kept leaving daughter, giving her problems and stuff like that. Or son is like, you know.
Oh, these days I would just would have recorded him
that-
ignoring
yeah, that's
me
the
and been
thing,
like,
like-
"Hey, what's this about?"
No, that bus driver would be fired. He would be dragged. He would never be able to have a Twitter account ever again.
We should find him and put him in a home.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're on their way to a class trip to the Natural History Museum, I guess.
Was the bus going to the class trip? You never really see the exchange.
Oh yeah, I don't think. I think it was taken to the school and then they went. Maybe.
Yeah. I
don't
think
know.
that's what it was. I think.
But this is where we meet my good friend James Franco.
Yes.
Oh, his father rolls up in a Rolls Royce.
Yes. I famously met James Franco when I worked for another YouTube channel. We did a video that he did not like, nor did his assistant like, and we got yelled at. That was the same night I got yelled at by Will.i.am's manager and Miss Piggy's representative.
Oh no.
Well, were you trying to prank them like assholes?
I was just the cameraman. I wasn't doing the pranking. I was just filming.
I see.
No, Miss Piggy. Okay, I was filming Will.i.am because he was a fucking weirdo. I wish I could talk more about this night, but Miss Piggy was there. I didn't film Miss Piggy, but I had the camera.
yeah.
And her representative came over. He's like, "Excuse me, you with the camera?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you recording Miss Piggy?" I'm like, No. And he's just like, let me be fucking clear, all right? You did not film Miss Piggy below the waist. You did not film her puppeteer. You did not film the real. I'm like, I'm not filming her at all. Like, I got yelled at by a
Dang.
Henson representative and Will.i.am's representative.
Man, that must be.
I wasn't yelled at by James Franco. We got yelled at later on from that one.
Wow.
That video exists somewhere. You
That
can
must
find
be
it.
so crazy to be like, you know, you don't understand how it is with people like that, but
Yeah.
a guy who represents literally a puppet is flipping his shit on Tony. I imagine Tony was like,
Tony, how did Miss Piggy look down there?
did you cry afterwards, Tony?
I was just real confused because, like, my camera wasn't on. I just was holding it. That was it.
I would have been like, fuck you and fuck Miss Piggy too.
Anyway,
Then Miss Piggy beat the shit out of me in an alley.
I I really like James Franco and Willem Dafoe in this. They seem like father and son.
They
did a
look
good
like
job.
father and son.
The hair.
Yeah.
They gave them
They
each
did a
other's
great
hair.
job making them look like they're related.
Yeah, and I like the kind of surrogate father relationship with Norman and Peter. I thought that was pretty good. So they go to the museum and they're learning about spiders. I don't know what course this is for, but the teacher said the next one of you talk will fail the course. And it's like, the spider course? What the fuck are they learning?
Spiders 101.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of bullies in this movie.
Yeah, there's like, it's not just Flash Thompson. It's like everyone's mean to Peter
what I
except
don't
for Harry.
get is like you have Peter who is like super IQ and they're bringing them, but like why is Flash Thompson in his weird goofy?
It's a school trip.
Well, this
But
is
I mean,
a school trip.
what
You know
class
where
are
it
they in
is
that
weird?
Flash
No.
Thompson got in?
What is weird is in Amazing Spider-Man where they go to like a science tech school and they have the jock douchebag Flash Thompson still, and it's like, wait, he doesn't make sense here.
I think the best Flash Thompson is the new one where he's
Oh,
just an
yeah, I
asshole,
love that guy.
but he's like, he's so funny.
Yeah, so they're learning about spiders and all their different abilities, including predicting the future, which we talked about at length in the Spider-Verse episode. I like that they modernized it to a genetically engineered spider as opposed to radioactive, but then it brings up a lot of questions.
Well,
It's
so they enhanced spiders that already had these abilities, kind of.
well, they mixed them all into
Yeah,
one.
and then like, but there are they even mentioned the spider that is Miles Morales, which turns him invisible. They say the one that like
they said
can
the camouflage, yeah.
itself. That's Miles Morales.
The problem is though, like, so they made 16 of them. So one got out and bit Peter and gave him all these powers. Like, you're telling me these scientists didn't study these things and realize like this is a problem?
Well, I wonder how it got out. Did it get itself out, or did someone just screw
Maybe
up?
it got out by itself, but
It was
still,
figured its way
divine
out.
intervention.
Yeah.
but still, you think the scientists would be like, "Holy shit, this spider can bite you and rewrite your code." Like, there should be a million Spider-Men after that.
You know,
And then, like, the one spider gets away. So what the fuck is that thing biting and turning into spider monsters? You guys never thought
maybe
about
it just
this before.
died. Maybe it died. Like it could have been like.
Well, that's
walking
why I
and it got
like
stepped
the original
on, or-
version where there's just one spider.
Maybe
It's
it
an
bites a
accident.
bird, and then the bird's like shooting webs out of its wings and stuff.
Somewhere
Like,
there's just a pigeon.
spider pigeon. It doesn't know what to do. It flies, bumps into a wall, and just gets stuck. And it's like, "Help!
Yeah.
I'm a pigeon."
I like that
I
they
can't
actually
understand the
took
powers I've been given.
they took a real spider and put a shell on it and painted it red and blue. I like that. I like that it's the colors of Spider-Man. That
Oh,
gives
it's a
them
real spider?
I mean, obviously not the CGI bite, but when it's like crawling and stuff, that's a real spider. They painted its shell.
How do they like sit there and they painted its shell?
Yeah, they put like a shell on the whatever the back is called,
And that spider's
and
like-
they painted it.
Like
Abdomen.
Yes,
does it? I wonder if that spider has a name. Like, is it a spider actor?
I don't know.
check the
Because you know,
credits.
well, you
Actually,
know, like in
the one spider that jumps, that's the spiders they use for arachnophobia. Do you ever see arachnophobia? That's a good one.
yeah,
that's a
with
good one.
with Jeff Daniels.
Yeah. So he gets bit, and at the same time, we see Norman Osborn. He's showing off his glider.
Yeah.
His goblin glider to the board of directors in the military. They're talking about performance enhancers, and his scientist, Wiener, I
Wiener.
guess.
That was Wiener, yeah,
Dr.
that was
Wiener.
him.
He's like, I love how like Norman's trying to pitch. He's like, yeah, everything's going great. All the tests were great. And guy's like, we really screwed up. One of them went insane. We got to start. We got to
Yeah.
go back to formula. And he's like, what the fuck did you just say?
Back to formula.
So he's pissed. He's about to lose his contract. Let me meet Ben and May Park. Who plays Uncle Ben?
It's the dude from what's it called?
Escape from LA.
Escape from LA. The president. I don't know
president.
his name. He's also in something else though. He was in something recent, I think.
Well, he's been dead for a few
No,
years
not
now.
recent, but I mean like in the last like few years. I think he was in something.
Oh yeah,
wasn't
and
he?
Aunt
He
May's
was in
Rosemary
something I was
Harris.
watching.
And then this is where like there's a lot of God stuff in this. Did you notice that?
No.
Boy, the divine intervention. That's how they got the spider. Yeah, there's a lot of good versus evil and a lot of
Yeah, specifically
Churchy.
a lot of like strong Christian stuff, which I don't have a problem with. It's just it's not in the sequels. It's a little bizarre.
I hate Uncle Ben.
Why do you hate Uncle Ben?
Don't like him. I was when me and Kieran were watching this like an hour ago. I was saying how much I hate Uncle Ben, and I was happy when he died.
I don't understand
That's
why
really
though.
mean.
That's what I was saying. Justin's just I don't know
Why
why,
do you hate
you're
Uncle
even saying
Ben?
this.
Well, no, I just think his death was necessary for Peter Parker
I-
to become
Well,
Spider-Man.
yeah, but you're not supposed
But
to
you-
hate him before
but-
he dies.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're like I hate him and he deserves to die, and then your reasoning
He's
is
kind of a
because that.
dick.
How is he kind
How
of a
is
dick?
he a dick?
Uncle Ben.
He's super nice to
Why
Peter.
is it
He
you see
raised
a
him.
loving paternal figure who cares
He
about
tries
someone?
being nice on the outside, but it's very apparent that he's a manipulator. He keeps messing with Peter's head. He's trying to like get him to paint the other room. I don't know. I just don't like Uncle Ben.
Oh, I totally lied. He wasn't
Did
in
you
like
like,
anything recent. He
did
was
you
in
like,
Spider-Man 3, and that's about it. Like,
yeah.
that was the last thing.
Did you like Martin Sheen better in Amazing Spider-Man?
I forgot about Martin
I
Sheen.
do not
Oh,
like
that's
the
right, in
Amazing
Sally
Spider-Man
Field. Huh?
That movie's
movies.
fucking
Sally
awful.
Field was
So
good.
I liked those ones, kinda, but I don't really remember them. I liked the first one. I liked Dennis Leary. I really liked Emma Stone. I thought was a great choice for Gwen Stacy.
So you like all those actors?
I don't mind them. I think they're fine.
What do you think about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man?
I'm not too big on Andrew Garfield.
Well, guess what, Justin? You can tell him that yourself, because Andrew Garfield is swinging in right now. Here he comes. Oh my God! Andrew Garfield has also died in the store. He's right next to Tobey Maguire.
I thought Toby
God.
Maguire would break his fall.
He did not.
He did not.
He did not.
Tobey Maguire just ended up breaking his neck.
Why? I don't know why they insisted on dressing like their character and swinging. They don't have superpowers.
Yeah,
They're
they
just
could have
actors.
just walked right in. I don't know why they wouldn't just,
When they called me, they said we insist on swinging in, and I said that's pretty dangerous. And
Yeah,
they
it's
did-
pretty crazy
Well-
too because the ceiling is only like,
Maybe they were
a
both
normal
really
ceiling
sad.
height.
You think this was a planned mass suicide?
It could have happened.
They called each other up, and they said we're just gonna end it all on Hack the Movie.
They're gonna
What-
ruin
what
your
better-
channel.
What better place to kill yourself than the Hack the Movies video store?
They're like, this will be a crowning
I guess-
achievement. Our double suicide at the Hack.
I guess they wanted to make sure they could do it on a place where no one would actually see them kill themselves.
I like the movie Poltergeist, but all the ghosts are buried on
Getcha.
top of our actors
Gotcha.
who played Spider-Man. That'd be good.
Well, I mean, I hope Tom Holland's
kidding.
okay. Let's continue.
To formula.
Peter starts transforming,
Yeah. He gets super ripped.
and we get these cool flashes, and one of
Yeah.
them is to the movie Frogs, and the other one is to the Beyond. That's where there's like a spider on the lens.
Okay.
The rest of it is very early 2000s, like CGI.
Yeah, where they're
swooshing and
walking
stuff.
around in DNA strands and
Yeah,
stuff.
they have to show the little spiders in the DNA.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we get it. We know what's happening.
He gets little. That's what happens when you turn to Spider-Man. Spiders, just microscopic spiders.
I think it's pretty convenient that Green Goblin and Peter Parker both got their powers on the same day.
Yeah, I never really thought about that, like watching the movie. But yeah, that is weird.
That's convenient. It's not as bad as, well, rest in peace, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, where it turns out Oscorp was like the bad guy factory. All the bad guys
Yeah.
came out of Oscorp.
The bad
And then
guy
I guess the
factor.
MCU has
Well,
that
you know what?
problem. The
Maybe they were-
MCU, every bad guy is a result of Iron Man being a dick.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe instead of Oscorp being the bad guy factory, they were the jerk store.
the jerk store
called.
They're running out of you. But yeah, he transforms. And then did we already talk about? Oh no, this is the part. Norman does the performance enhancer on him.
Yeah.
And I like that he's trying to act like a badass. And then he gets on the tray and the thing touches him. He's like, "Ooh, it's
like,
cold."
"Oh, it's cold."
It's
Yeah.
like that's the last thing he says.
I
He's a good guy.
always laugh about that part a little bit because I'll bet that thing is freezing cold. It's
Yeah.
like just metal.
Yeah,
It
so
probably
I-
was like I always wondered like was that in the like a line in the movie or was that like the first time they shot it with Willem Dafoe and he was like, "Oh, that's cold." Like he
I might
actually was
You know
startled.
what?
a
I
bit.
forgot to listen to the director's commentary before this. I wonder if that is a thing. They're like, we just thought it was funny.
because
We
it
left
looked
it in.
freezing. Like it's just this metal. Imagine
Well,
that
he
touching
he
you.
is a method actor.
Yeah.
So.
But I like the transformation, like him like seizuring out. But I like that he whispers back to formula to the guy
Yeah,
before he
it's
throws him.
I love when he jumps on the thing.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
all scary.
It's funny when you see him, even in Spider-Man, even with Spider-Man, it's funny when you see them do their like Green Goblin Spider-Man stuff when they're not in the suits.
Yeah.
Like when clearly if he's in the suit, like I don't care. But when he's just him shirtless, I'm like, that looks fucking weird.
It's crazy that he did that though.
Yeah.
Because imagine having to jump on something and then getting into that pose and everything and not falling.
He's got a weird body. Like he's in shape, but it's like
yeah, but he's that kind of like 50-year-old man in shape. Like
yeah, it's like everything's muscular. It's just positioned.
He's very
weirdly.
ribbed.
I agree. I
Ribby.
think he should be at least 100, 200 pounds overweight. Then he looked good.
Then
Oh, okay.
you know, a thick daddy. Zaddy.
But yeah, speaking of in shape, the next day, Peter's all buff.
yeah, this is the dick part.
Please, I know you want to talk about
Yeah,
dick.
so he
Go.
looks in the mirror, and Aunt May's like, "Hey, is everything okay in there?" Blah blah blah, and he goes like, "Everything's okay, everything's." And he looks down at his wiener and goes, "Everything's bigger."
It says
Yeah, he's-
big changes.
Big. Oh yeah,
Oh,
big
no,
changes.
she says, "Are you changed?" And he goes, "Yeah,
Yeah,
big change."
Big changes.
And then here is he doesn't need his glasses anymore.
He's not looking at his wiener. He's looking at himself. Like, he's not supposed to be looking at his wiener. He's in pants. He can't see his wiener.
so he
Well, that's how big his wiener is. It's coming out of his
So
head.
his glasses are fixed, and they don't work. I mean, his eyes are fixed, and he doesn't need glasses anymore. But he's wearing glasses. Did he like? Can you get lenses? What?
No, I thought he wasn't
Wait.
wearing the glasses because he catches Mary Jane and she's like, "You have blue eyes."
No,
I
he
never
doesn't
noticed."
wear them after this point.
He doesn't
Oh, I
wear them
thought he
anymore.
did.
No, he takes them off.
Yeah.
he puts them on.
We
and goes
literally
like,
just watched this. I don't know why I keep. All right, anyway.
Yeah, he takes them off.
Oh man, like me and Kieran were talking about. Imagine waking up every morning and being able to see.
I mean,
I can't see any of you.
when
Like, you
I
see
was,
this text, I can't read that. You see this?
Yeah.
I still cannot read that text. You print notes, I'm not fucking looking at them.
When I was
Wait,
14.
take your glasses off again. You have blue eyes. I never noticed.
I do have blue
Oh yeah,
eyes.
you do have blue eyes. I do too.
And this is where we realized that Peter Parker and Mary Jane are exhibitionists.
Oh,
Because they like to just change in front of their open windows.
Yeah.
That not only do they face each other, but they're like 4 feet away.
The thing is, too, I don't understand. That's what I'm saying. They are so close to each other in those windows. How has she never been like, I'm going to close my windows because creepy ass Peter Parker.
because she's fucking into it,
is,
you dick.
Maybe. That's true, I guess.
Jesus
They're
Christ.
both
Which is-
into it. They're both voyeurs and exhibitionists. They
But
lucked out.
he wasn't ripped until this morning. The night before, he was all scrawny.
That's
So
true.
maybe she just wants someone watching him.
Maybe she likes to watch and he...
Kieran, stop yucking someone else's yum.
You're really kink shaping.
Wow, that's a good... I've never heard that term
Someone
before.
told me that
Stop
about-
yucking someone else's yum.
Someone said that about the Cinemasker podcast because I'm so negative all the
That's
time.
that's pretty incredible.
Peter, he starts to discover. You okay there?
No.
I know
I'm
you're a
gonna-
little shaken up. 2 big Hollywood actors just died at the
Yeah,
same
that's
time.
true.
But let's keep our calm.
And
We
their
got to get through
bodies
this
are
review.
still there.
Big Hollywood actors.
Twisted.
Well, they are. I hope they finished their scenes for No Way Home.
Are they even in No Way Home? I feel like
think
we're gonna
they are.
get. I feel like they're not.
Anyway,
I feel like it's gonna be like the last 1 minute of the movie, and you're gonna see them in the suits, but they're not gonna be there.
maybe.
It's
That
gonna
would
be
be
a-
really stupid if it's just something in a suit and it's not really the actor in the thing. That would be really dumb. Who would ever do that?
I don't know.
He starts to discover his powers a little bit. Like his hand gets stuck to the thing. And Norman, apparently he blacks out whenever he turns into the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Which this is like Jekyll and Hyde and Wolfman. Stanley was really into those stories. So like
That makes sense. I can
every
see
bad
that.
guy in a Marvel thing is usually it's like Dr. Jekyll or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I got this and now I'm this monster. His office is full of masks.
Yeah.
Which I think is supposed to justify why he turns into a scary goblin later. They
Hmm.
don't, because it would be weird if he just showed up as a scary goblin. That would have been bizarre. But then they give you this clue early on. They're like, okay, he's into like the scary mask thing.
Yeah.
And his mansion or his skyrise apartment, whatever it is, it's the mansion for Batman 89.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the one scene they had to be careful how they filmed it because it's the same staircase where Michael Keaton was making
See,
out
I
with
would totally have
What's-Her-Face.
never noticed that. Like at
Because
all.
they did a good. The only reason I noticed it is because I think I listened to the commentary years ago, and he's like, "Yeah, it's the same staircase from Batman."
That's crazy though.
This is probably one of the most memorable things: is Peter catching the food falling down,
Yep.
and I forget.
She slips.
yeah,
It's
she
great
slips.
reflexes.
Yeah, he's got the great quick reflexes, but like they did that like practical,
Oh really?
and it took like a really long. Yeah, they had like really strong like super glue.
Well,
so it would
I'm pretty
land.
sure they also sped up the film.
Yeah, I'm sure they sped it up.
so
but
he
they
had to actually
did have
catch everything, like, and,
Yeah.
and it would stick.
They had to drop, and it
Huh.
was covered in this like super adhesive, so it would like to
Oh,
make sure it didn't
immediately?
like bounce. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But apparently it took him like a lot of takes to like get it right.
Yeah.
Oh, what a dork.
What if it like it's like, oh shit, you dropped the apple and now we can't get it off the floor, so there's just a bunch of glued apples to the floor in the thing forever.
So he shoots a web on accident. And by the way, it's not just that his webs are organic. I'm fine with that, actually.
Yeah.
I always thought it was weird the spider didn't give him that power. But it's the fact that he has those, like, tumors on his wrist. Like,
me and my buddy used to say, like, he's got spooge on his wrist.
I assume he goes to the doctor at some point. Aren't they going to be like, hey, what the fuck is going on there? They're going to look into it.
Well, the one thing that's weird, too, that's kind of gross about it being, like, a part of his anatomy is that he's basically spraying bodily fluids all over the fucking city at all times. And when he sprays it in your mouth, like...
It's different
like,
fluid.
and
It's
it's
not
like
the same fluid.
It's just like super
that's
hard
what-
cum.
That's what like silk is. And you like, wear a silk shirt.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, when he's normal Spider-Man, he has web shooters. It's like a synthetic.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
But this is like if I was spraying a fucking, I don't know. I feel like it's gross.
Technically,
to me.
wouldn't it come out of his butt?
Well, even a spider's
I guess
web is
technically it
gross.
would. Did you ever watch...
And don't some spider breeds don't they have their genitals on their leg?
Do they?
Like what
think
if he
so.
woke up and his testicles were just on his knee?
That'd be weird.
Maybe
they
that's
should
what the
do one
big
of those-
change was he looked down and he saw just a huge cock coming out of his kneecap.
We mentioned it in Spider-Verse, but that episode didn't get a lot of views. Thank you. In the comics, remember I said they worked in the organic web shooters, but they made Peter turn into a spider and then give birth to himself so he can have the organic web shooters.
Ugh.
Go back and watch the Spider-Verse episode. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it was a fun time, and it's a good movie.
We get to see a spider sense, and it's all Matrixy because that was the style at the time.
It was the style at the time.
Yeah, and I actually this scene is pretty cool. I like how they zoom in on the fly and out the paper.
Oh, because he throws the food at Flash.
Yeah, and then he
Yeah.
runs away, but then Flash goes to fight him, and that's when the sense kicks in.
This is the scene I'm in.
Oh yeah.
Right, okay, you look like that famous extra who's been in like 300, 400 movies.
Because we're both fat and white and have glasses and rosacea. There's Justin. Ha 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 ha, said everyone in the movie theater for 10 years. Thanks, everybody.
What about that year of the Super Bowl when he made out that super hot model for that commercial?
Wasn't it for like
That
a
should have
Carl's
been an
Jr. or something? Or no, it was
accomplishment.
GoDaddy, I think, right?
It was
it
GoDaddy.
GoDaddy?
Yeah. Anyway, he beats the shit out of Joseph Manganiello.
Yeah, he punches that locker really hard.
Yeah.
You think that would be where it ends? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I
No,
missed. I broke my knuckles.
So no one at the school was ever like, wow, there's a guy doing flips and shooting webs.
So
remember that day?
I was saying this the entire time. Like, there's parts where it's like, hey, remember that, Spider-Man's flying around. It's weird that Spider-Man all of a sudden showed up after that day that Peter Parker did 8 backflips, punched Flash Thompson across 50 feet, shot webs all over a fucking lunch tray, and also dodged 80 punches and all this shit, did the limbo.
So then what?
Well, no, but that's the thing is, how would
no.
that entire school not know that he's
What happens
Spider-Man?
then? Hey, I know who Spider-Man is this guy, and then he comes and kills you? Shut your damn mouth.
Peter Parker isn't going to kill you.
You sure?
I don't know.
He
Well,
almost
as
killed
soon
Flash.
as the
that's
Daily
true.
Bugle starts saying we want Spider-Man, he'd be like, hey, I think I know who he is.
It's like in Dark Knight, actually.
Yeah, when the guy
one
finds the stuff.
And he's like, I want you to kill that guy who's Batman. He goes, the Joker.
So yeah, Spider-Man or Peter Parker leaves and he starts testing out his powers. And how's the CGI in the scene of him jumping over the rooftops?
It looks like the top-down scenes from GTA 3.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
But even him running, he kind of looks like Woody from Toy Story. It just looks
Yeah.
bizarre. It looked fine at the time.
Yeah.
It aged like 2 and 3 have some dodgy CGI,
It's
but not
nowhere
as bad
near
as
as
this.
bad as like Matrix Reloaded.
No,
when it's like Neo
no.
and stuff like that was shit. But,
It's not even as bad as Wolverine on the Statue of Liberty.
where he
That-
swings
that
around.
scene
Yeah,
looks so
that was
fucking
weird.
bad.
I watched that recently too,
Yeah.
and I was like, I remember thinking that scene looked so cool the way
At
he
the
like cuts
time,
off
yeah.
the tip and everything, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks
but
awful.
he has to test out his web, and he tries a variation of things. I don't know why he thinks he needs to say something.
Go web. Fly. Up and away, web.
Oh, he's going like...
And
Yeah.
go web go,
He's like,
Shazam, up and
fly.
away web. But yeah, he
up and
finally
away,
figures it
web.
out. And I love the scene where he swings and just hits the wall.
Yeah.
Mary Jane's parents hate her.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never explained why.
Wasn't Mary Jane's parents? Didn't the dad show up in one of the other movies or something? Or
Yeah,
she says
because she's mad that he hasn't come to the shows. She's like, my dad showed up. He was asking for money.
Yeah,
But it's like he
yeah.
at least made the effort to show up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes why you don't like people is never really explained. Like, I hate Uncle Ben, for example, but I don't have to have a reason. I just don't think he's a good person.
He's totally a good person, though.
But this is where
Is he, though?
This is where they
Yes.
flirt. They flirt a little bit, and she's superficial because now that he's a hunk, she's starting to notice it.
This is where she says he's a lot higher than he looks, and he has crooked back. This is the part.
Yeah. He's like, you're taller than you look.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's kind of rude.
You're taller than you look.
And then
Pete.
How tall do you think Toby Maguire is? I looked it up. It's
I don't know. Is he
pretty
like
funny?
5 foot above 5'7"?
Right.
Actually, yeah, just
so,
above.
So what happened? So when you look up an actor's height, sometimes like you look up Christopher Lee's height, and it's like 6'3", or you look up whatever.
How often are you looking up Christopher Lee's height? What the
Pretty
fuck?
often, more than you'd think. Actually.
Okay.
I like
But-
to know sometimes if I'm
but
taller than certain people.
It's always feet, inches. We live in America. Sorry if you do not. Feet, inches.
Nah, fuck the metric system.
Right. Feet, inches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so for him, it doesn't say 5'7" or 5'8". It says 5'7" and 3/4. Like when you,
Fuck, he's got me beat.
by 3/4. Oh,
Well,
really?
he had me beat. He's unfortunately dead. We could have just, this whole time you're talking, I could have got some measuring tape. We
Yeah,
could
now
have
he's
figured it
pretty-
out.
He's pretty short now because he's all
See,
tangled
Well, he
up.
evacuated his bowels after
Yeah.
he died.
It
It's like,
smells like
So wait, so you're the
ass.
same height as Toby Maguire.
nice.
You're both 5'7",
awesome.
and that's the same height as Mussolini. You know Mussolini from Italy?
Imagine Mussolini slinging webs. He's like, "Hey, I'm a Spider-Man, a Pete Borelli.
I remember I looked it up.
That was very offensive.
I'm not perverted. I'm an Italian."
Kieran, you are doing pasta face.
Hey, you
And I
make
appreciate-
you make fun of
appreciate-
Irish people all the time.
I am Irish. I get a pass.
I also
you're
know
not.
we have
Yes, I am. My mom's maiden name is O'Brien. I'm pretty Irish too.
No, it's not. It's probably
Okay.
like O'Brien Ellie or something like that.
Well, according to
O'Brien.
if you guys listen to the voicemail segment, someone called in pretending to be my mom, but he didn't know my mom was an Italian. So he's like, Tony, it's your mother. Sorry, I'm not Italian. I'm like, well, you've never been Italian, mom, but okay.
Oh
your
my
mom,
God.
Your mom sounds like what's his face from Independence Day. I'll call my lawyer.
You're
I
like
think, you know what's
Mrs.
weird?
Bighead.
My mom sounds like Newt's dad, who also called the show.
Wow.
It sounded like they were the same person.
Newt sounded like, "Hey, Newt."
So Mary Jane, she gets picked up by Flash in his cool new car, and Peter's like, I know what I'll do. I'll get a car that costs $3,000.
Yeah.
How will I get the money? I'll wrestle.
Yep.
Because wrestling in this universe is real. It's a real fight,
Yeah.
apparently.
No. It said, can you last in the ring against our fighter for 3,000?
Yeah.
Yes. But still, wrestling is real. in
I
this
do
universe.
like that they put that ad under the cars.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So he decides to start designing his costume, and he's practicing his webs, and he even shoots at a Dr. Pepper can so they can get that Dr. Pepper product placement. Sorry, guys, I'm really, really parched. Do you guys like Dr. Pepper?
I love Dr. Pepper.
Dr.
actually.
Pepper is pretty great, especially Dr. Pepper Zero. It's got 0 calories.
How does it taste?
Great.
Dr. Pepper Zero for a bunch of zeros. I prefer Dr. Thunder.
Really?
Yeah.
We will not talk about Dr. Thunder on this program, okay? You shut the fuck up.
I love Dr. Pepper though. I actually really liked that it was that he slung a web at
Oh.
Dr. Pepper.
My friend in high school, college, good old Lauren, her family, because we go over there and like hang out and stuff. They always call. They're like, I'm sitting around there. Hey, you want a drink? And I'm like, sure. He's like, oh, you want a regular or diet? I'm like, oh, I'll diet. They're like, oh yeah, get him a Diet X-Men. And I'm like, what? I'm like, a Diet X-Men? Okay. And this is like around the time this came out.
Yeah.
And they brought out a can of Diet Dr. Pepper, but they still had all the cans with the X-Men on them. And they just bought so many that they had them. So they just called Diet Dr. Pepper Diet X-Men.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
That was like, what was that soda? You were talking about that one time in the South or whatever, and it was like
Same person. We were out in West Virginia or Kentucky.
This person just refuses to know brand names.
yeah.
And we're driving through the mountains.
He's fighting capitalism. That's what he's doing.
And you know what? I believe I was turning 21 for the first time. And
Well, how many
first
times
time.
do you turn 21, Justin? Oh, I forgot. You're Buddhist. You believe in reincarnation. All right, continue.
well, when these guys get reincarnated, these dead guys on the floor, as is the joke of the episode.
Yes.
So we're driving through the mountains in West Virginia, and it's kind of a dry county, right? Which means there's no alcohol, which is fucking stupid.
No.
And we have some like bullet bourbon with us, and apparently the whole thing is you get like a bourbon and like a soda, and I was gonna drink that.
Yeah.
So we stopped at the convenience store and like, hey, we said, hey, what soda goes good with bourbon? And they pointed in a direction. And for some reason, I'm going around and I'm pretending to have a southern accent as I do. Like, you can't plot me in another country. Like, if I'm in Australia, if I'm in England, I'm gonna start doing the accent immediately.
Yeah.
Like, almost accidentally. So I'm going around. I go to the counter with this drink, and the drink's called Ale 8. A-L-E 8. Ale 8. So I go, I'm just going to get this here, Ale 8. You know, buy some Ale. They're like, oh, are you from around here? I'm like, yeah, born and raised, 20 miles, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And they're like, okay. they're like, all right, have a good one. And we get back to the place, and my friend's like, oh, you got the, you're having a late one. Great. And I'm like, what? He's like, it's a late one. You don't see the little one? And I'm like, what? He's like, that's what you call it. We get a late one, which is like a ginger ale, and you mix it with bourbon whiskey, and it's called a late one because you're having it at night. It's a late one. And I'm like, holy shit. I just had this whole thing where I went to the store and said, I'll have an Ale 8.
I'm from around here.
I'm from 20 miles down the road. You don't know the McCoy family? Oh, like acting like a total
I hate them
douchebag.
Hatfields. Like, what the fuck are the
And you're like,
McCoys?
that boy ain't from around here. You don't know what a light one is.
After that point, we just started like buying like a late, like I had the a late one bottle opener like until like a month ago. I was using it for so long. So
That's what, a
So
late one.
It's all about Diet X-Men
Yeah.
and
And
Ale
Ale
8.
Well, that's good. Anyway. That was real. I was actually, my throat was getting dry. So he goes to wrestle. Now, in the comics, he wrestles someone named Crusher Hogan. Mm-hmm. They got access to a very famous wrestler for this movie, and I bet you he was like, let me make something clear. I ain't gonna be fucking Hogan.
That's, yeah.
Because Macho Man Randy Savage, at this point, hated Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I don't
think
know
they
if,
might have made amends later.
Dancing around like a ballerina.
So I don't know if you've heard the song "Be a Man" Hogan.
Yeah,
But he mentions
he
this
has a whole
in
rap
this.
album.
He's like, I got a feature role in Spider-Man.
Oh, his
his
rap album is Chef Kiss.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Did I ever tell the Macho Man story? So remember in 2011, that one religious group were predicting the rapture?
Oh, God, yeah.
It was going to be like May something of 2011. Me and my friends, we had a barbecue for that day. We had a rapture barbecue. But Macho Man died the day before.
I remember that.
And the rapture didn't
right.
happen. And people are like, wait, I think I know what happened. Someone photoshopped Macho Man about to do an elbow drop on Jesus,
Yeah, I've seen
stopping
that.
the rapture.
I've seen that.
So now it's like Macho Man died for our sin.
Rest in peace, Macho.
But yes, Macho Man is Bonesaw McGraw.
Yeah.
Can I hear your Bonesaw impression?
Bonesaw is ready.
Can I get it? Can I hear you?
Bonesaw is ready.
That's pretty good.
Bonesaw is ready.
I think
I can only do like I can do the
Changed at the end of
You
that.
think so? Well, I tried to go like, oh yeah.
Yeah, the one where
because
he's
Macho
like,
Man has like the
he has the whisper. That's the one
Yeah.
I can do. Like,
Okay,
he's like,
yeah, do the-
it's like, oh yeah, let me tell you, oh, me and Gene, yeah, oh yeah,
yeah because
That's
like,
like- that's-
it's the cream of the crop.
yeah. Oh, cream.
You do not sound like Macho. He does
You
a
don't
good
think so?
Macho Man.
Yeah.
You do
What
not.
do I sound like?
That's the only one I can do is the
You
whisper.
sound like that
one.
guy from Casablanca, that weird mousy dude.
Oh, Peter Lorre.
Yeah, you sound like Peter Lorre.
He's like, yeah, yes, like, why'd you make me do that?
cream of the crop.
All right, so he is the human spider, and of
Yeah.
course Bruce Campbell gets to give him his like
Intro,
actual.
yeah.
Oh shit, we skipped over a big one. Ben Parker, Uncle Ben, telling him like, "Hey, you've been acting like an idiot."
No,
Yeah,
lately."
they
no,
yell
no,
at each
no.
other.
Fuck Uncle Ben.
No, he yells at Uncle
He
Ben.
said nothing of
They
importance.
get into a fight.
He says the great power, great
And again,
responsibility
this is
line.
something they sped up because in the first Spider-Man, like his first appearance. Like, he's a celebrity for a while before this happens, so they made it all in one day. This movie speeds up a lot of the lore. But yeah, Uncle Ben, he does the whole with great power comes great responsibility, and they just haven't said it again in a Spider-Man movie.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
They keep dancing around not using that line. It's like, just use the fucking line.
No,
one
fuck
cares.
Uncle Ben. He stole Bruce Campbell's car.
That's right. He is driving the classic, the Oldsmobile, whatever.
And all the while this touching moment is going on, some 41 song rock. It's all what we're all about.
It's what we live for.
Come on, shout it out. It's just blaring in the background while this happens.
Do you think while this like emotional scene is happening, some 41 were in the theater, like, they're not playing our song fucking loud enough?
We don't care about the Uncle Ben. We care about our song.
They were like, yeah, he's gonna use it in like the fight scenes, and then it's just in the background of a scene. You can't even hear it.
I remember when this movie came out too, that they debuted that song on TRL, and it never
it's
placed.
a terrible song.
Yeah, it was like they were like, yeah, we're gonna debut a new movie. It's from Spider-Man, and the next day it wasn't on the list. It was like number 7, I think, and then it was just gone.
Also in this scene, Octavia Spencer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's sitting at the table.
Yeah, she has a small part.
Yeah.
It's funny how she used to have small parts in movies. Like, she's in Bad Santa, and I like that Bad Santa 2 brought her back, even though that was like a throwaway role. But yes, he comes out as the human spider, and they fight in a cage match, but it's more like a mini Hell in the Cell.
What's interesting is in this movie, he gets the Spider-Man name from Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell, yeah.
And the Green Goblin name comes from J. Jonah Jameson. So no one names themselves.
Yeah.
No, that's how it always kind of is, though. Even like in The Rocketeer, which, you know, we watched, the guy gives him the name The Rocketeer, the dude who's like the promoter guy. Right. It's always kind of like that. I think because even Dr. Octopus in the second one wasn't named. It was named by J. Jonah Jameson.
I mean, the only time superheroes, I think, name themselves is like Michael Keaton and Christian Bale. They both go, I'm Batman, and that's the first time you hear it.
Or like, I am Iron Man.
Or they
no,
call
Iron Man,
they
give him, the newspaper gives him the name,
and
he's
I
out.
am Iron Man.
Because he jokes about it, he's like, it's not even iron, it's like a gold alloy, but yeah, so the match happens, again, the not really cage match. Are there cages with tops on them?
They're like steel beams.
Yeah, it's not like a cage. It is like a Hell in a Cell, really, because there is like a roof. Yeah, cage matches, you're supposed to get out of the cage. You're supposed to climb over it.
Well, not all the time. Sometimes you could just pin or open the door.
Well, you could, but that's
it also depends,
usually
like what. Because I think in AEW, leaving the cage doesn't mean you win.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Some of them do. I think it used to be like but that was also too like the old school cages were just like chain link. This one's like rebar.
Yeah,
you know?
What did you think about the bonettes?
The bonettes.
Oh, the girls are called the bonettes. Yeah.
I like how they're just berating
they're
Spider-Man.
really mean to him.
They were mean.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be. He's a bad guy, and that's his like posse. But yeah, so Spider-Man jumps up, and he says a very problematic, homophobic comment, or as people in 2002 used to call it, a funny joke. What did you guys think of that's a nice outfit? Did your husband make it for you?
I have no comment about that. Slur.
It's funny because it's Macho Man. Like, it's funny that he's saying that to him.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. I don't think people get that. Anyway.
No, I mean, like, yeah, you know.
I have a funny joke.
Yeah?
I was going to make one up about, we were talking about 9/11 earlier, and then...
Jessica, cut that out, for the love of God. But yeah, so
Jessica, where were you during 9/11? That's what I want to know.
Jessica, were you born during 9/11?
Oh, yeah.
Like, God, no.
Born during it?
Yeah, so he wins. He knocks him out in less than 1 minute or less than
It's
2 minutes.
2 minutes. He pins it. You pinned him in 2.
No, he didn't pin him. He knocked him out.
Well, he says the
He
guy
says
to him,
pin,
yeah.
but in
He says
actuality, the
it was
ref
for
calls
3
the
minutes.
match.
You pinned him in 2.
It said $3,000 for 3 minutes, and you pinned him in 2.
Which usually you wouldn't call that during a steel cage
Yeah.
match.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the way Macho Man hits, he smashes into the wall and then lands on his head.
Yeah.
He's
Like
dead.
the way he
He's
lands,
dead.
he definitely has some trauma. And Spider-Man is you know, everybody runs to Bonesaw's, you know, to make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's just like, hey, whoa.
Well, because this is the first time where people are actually cheering him on.
You know what I
Yeah.
don't get is too, like, what if Spider-Man had just said, because now, you know, it goes into the scene where he's getting paid.
Which, by the way, so he had to sign like a consent form. I assume he had to use his real name.
Now he signed as the human spider.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That's
that makes
not
sense.
legally binding.
Well,
that federation is going to be
What
in,
are you, a
So,
fucking lawyer?
I'll
that
say this,
federation is
too.
going to be in a ton of legal trouble.
I'll say this. What Spider-Man would have done if he was smart, Peter, you know? So he goes in, the guy's like, I'm not paying you the 3,000. I'm going to pay you the 100, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I would have said, hey, I just took out your main dude. You need somebody. Hire me as your new wrestler. There's the money right there. Then you become this wrestler. You,
Because
you
that's
beat people up for a
which
living.
one? In the comics, he does the wrestling match, and then he goes on TV doing stunts for a bit.
Yeah.
yeah. in
But that's the
original.
thing. So then now the robber guy comes in, robs the dude. He says, "Oh, I don't remember. I don't see how this is my problem."
I forget
whatever.
I fail to see the part where that's my problem.
My problem. Yeah, so that happens. But if Spider-Man, this all could have been avoided. But then I guess we wouldn't have the hero Spider-Man. We'd have some asshole wrestler who picks apart normal people.
By the
and
way,
can
can we
shoot
talk
webs
about
around.
the Mugger, aka Sandman's friend? If you watch Spider-Man
So
3.
Justin hasn't seen Spider-Man 3.
So that's Sandman's good friend.
Yeah.
Or just accomplice. I don't know.
Yeah, because the third one they were doing like backlore stuff.
Yeah.
Kinda,
they
yeah.
retconned a lot of stuff.
I
what's
love
going?
Spider-Man 3.
You talked about that in
I
Spider-Verse.
really enjoy it.
What's going on with this guy's hair? Like the
No,
the
they
half
made
dyed
it-
blonde.
They made it weird on purpose, so later you know that's the guy.
Well, you know what else too? It was 2001, and everyone was doing that.
He had the
I had a
frosted
bunch
I
of
did
friends who had
have dyed
frosted
blonde
tips.
hair, but it didn't look that
Well,
fucking
I mean, but
weird.
he
Hold
was
on,
definitely.
please cut to the. Jessica asked me for this. Ask for the photo of Kieran when this movie came out. You know, when he had the frosted tips.
I didn't have frosted tips.
In the Photoshop job I'm doing.
Oh my god, I did not have.
He doesn't have frosted tips.
so yeah,
my
so
God.
this mugger who just held someone up with a gun gets away thanks to Spider-Man.
Yeah, because he failed to see
and he
the
says
part where
thank
that's
you.
his problem.
Yeah, he says thanks.
He's
a
like,
nice
thanks.
mugger.
very considerate.
Thanks.
So,
So
here's
then
the thing.
afterwards, Uncle Ben is shot by someone.
Yeah,
And someone stole his thing.
And he's like,
who could
"Here."
it possibly be?
and you forgot about the part where Tobey Maguire ugly cries, uglier than any human who has ever ugly cried in his
Yeah,
life.
this might be a Mandela effect thing, but I remember Uncle Ben saying the line again when he's dying.
No, wait,
No,
what
he
is he
never said
like?
that.
Prayer, with great
great
responsibility.
power,
Like it would be so stupid if he said it there.
Well, and this is my favorite part of the movie because that asshole Uncle Ben is dead.
Oh my god, he's not an asshole.
Anyway, so yeah, he dies, and then this is like the first kind of like Spider-Man fighting crime
Yeah.
part. And again, the CGI is hit or miss. It's
Yeah.
at night, so it's a little bit better. But yeah, I the first time I saw this, I'm like, this is the most amazing thing. I remember
No,
the trailer showed him jumping on top of that roof and landing,
Yeah.
and I'm like, holy
didn't
shit!
think it looked good when he was climbing up the wall.
Yeah.
And you see his face for a quick second. I knew when I saw it in theater, because also too, seeing it in theaters and it's blown up, you're like, but I don't care when I'm watching a movie. I'm in the movie. I'm in the world. I'm like,
at that
whatever.
point, you're invested, so you kind of like
it
try to
doesn't
like
take me
gloss
out
over
of
the
it.
effects. But this is a fun scene of him, chasing the car.
Yeah.
I like that it's all, for the most part, a lot of like the environments are all in camera and they add him in later. It's not like now where like everything's
I was
fucking
saying,
digital.
I love the scene where he's on the bus, he jumps over the bridge, but he does that backflip onto the hood of
Yeah.
the car. The way that part's shot looks so awesome. I
That
think,
was
like,
used in a lot of the
that
trailers.
was really like that was Spider-Man. Like that
Yeah.
was the first glimpse you really get. It's almost as iconic like when you're seeing X-Men for the first time
Yeah.
and Wolverine first pops the claws out and you see him do that. flip.
Although
It's like
older
same thing.
nerds hated that because like it came out from the wrong part of his hand.
I thought
know.
it made sense though,
I
because if
didn't
you think
care.
about like in the movie, because he didn't have the sheaths coming out on top, so
Yeah.
you figure it comes out here. And I had friends who they were like, that would hurt so fucking bad all the time. It's like, yeah, that's the point. Like,
Well,
whatever.
until they retcon it later. But anyway.
Yeah.
So he confronts the mugger in the abandoned building by the docks, and it's like, oh no, it's the guy I let go earlier. And it's like, I didn't realize for so long that was supposed to be like a mystery. Like, who shot him? Like, well, I know exactly who it is.
There's
The
a
guy
part
who did it a minute ago.
Yeah.
after when Spider-Man smashes his face into the windows twice and then he throws him into the cage. There's a weird springy boing sound effect that they play. It's hard to hear because it's mixed in with a whole bunch of other things, but it goes like boing like that. And if you listen, you can hear it. Like
Yeah.
I guess if you're gonna put it in there, but I'm pretty sure it's from the arcade game Zookeeper by Taito when you're catching animals. It's right when he hits his head twice into the window, and then he throws him into like a pile of crap behind him. It makes this weird sproing noise.
We're gonna have to find the effect. I really love the one part where he comes down behind him.
Yeah,
and
that's
goes
pretty
right
classic.
back up. I like that he doesn't kill the guy. The guy dies
Yeah.
by accident. Which I kind of like. I like that also in like Batman, where the killer of his parents dies, because then it's less about personal vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like one day I'm gonna get that guy who killed Uncle Ben. I forget what happened in the comics to that mugger. I forget what happened to him.
To Joe Chill or to
Well, no, I know what happens to Joe
okay.
Chill in the comics. I mean, the guy who killed.
I don't know, like I think in the cartoon they talk about it once. There's an episode where he meets this little girl who's like a fan of his, and he's explaining the story. But I think they just catch him, and he goes to prison. And like he catches him, and the guy goes to jail. They don't mention that he dies.
But little did he know, that guy did nothing. It was Sandman who killed Uncle Ben.
Oh, is that a number 3 thing?
Yeah.
So what I think happened, you don't see Uncle Ben get shot in the first one. I think Uncle Ben was asking for it.
You know what's weird? When they do like the black and white flashback, they show the gunshot in Uncle Ben like this, but it's when he's already laying on the ground with the pillow behind.
Oh, he's like,
I think Uncle Ben just took the gun and he's like, oh, I'm gonna rob this guy who has $3,000 on him, and the guy was acting in self-defense. I think Uncle Ben.
Yeah, we forgot to mention Uncle Ben loses his job in the beginning of the movie. Maybe he's moonlighting.
Oh yeah, he hates automation. He hates technology. He's looking through the paper. He's like, oh, computer job, a computer analyst. You need an analyst to analyze the computers
He's
now?
basically Sarah Connor. He hates fucking computers and machines.
He shouldn't even made it into the year 2000. Get out of here, Uncle Ben. You suck. And this solves the problem. Why did Peter become a wrestler? To get $3,000.
Yeah.
Why did he want $3,000?
To get a car.
Now he has Uncle Ben's car. The guy just left it next to the...
That's true.
So, problem solved.
Actually, it becomes Aunt May's car because it's still in part 2.
yeah, I was gonna say, you think Aunt May and Uncle Ben both have a car? They're poor as shit.
How often is she driving around? And where was Uncle Ben going? The graveyard? Like
Pick up Peter. He was going to pick Peter up.
They're such cock blocks.
So then we get like the sad scene of him.
I wish Aunt May died too.
What you call it? He's crying on the Chrysler building, I think,
Yeah.
which has been rebuilt after it was destroyed in Armageddon. After it was rebuilt, after it got destroyed in Godzilla, now it's back.
Which is where in the cartoon Kingpin lives.
Right,
He sits
that's right.
inside the Chrysler building.
You think Michael Clark Duncan's in there, just looking out his window, going,
Oh yeah,
"What's that dude doing?"
I remember in the cartoon, like, because Kingpin had his one dude who made like robots, Smythe. But
Well, I
like,
thought there's a guy in a wheelchair in this, and I thought that was Smythe.
Oh,
yeah.
but yeah, the guy in the boardroom. But like the whole Chrysler building like opens up and the evil robots
and a
fly
giant-
out,
and
no
like,
one's like, "Hey,
a fucking giant scorpion robot.
Well,
with
maybe that's a
spider
reference
slayers and
to
stuff.
Q, the winged serpent, when Q, the giant monster, was building a nest in there.
Right, is that what the reference?
And
was?
no one ever was like, "Hey, that's where that giant bird monster is." Yeah. So while this is happening, the competitor to Oscorp, they
Quest.
build their flight
Diagnostics.
suit, which is like a cockpit with legs.
Yeah, it looks
I don't
really
know how that
stupid.
thing was supposed to move.
It looks like Boba Fett's ship with legs, or a
Yeah.
porta
Like,
potty.
I'm sorry. What's the name of Boba Fett's ship?
I know what it's called. I'm just saying that because I'm gonna avoid.
No. It's got a new PC friendly name.
Does it really?
Yeah,
Isn't it
people like you two complained so much that it's now called the Fire Spray.
The fire spray.
This is what you guys wanted.
Why
You
is it
wanted
called
this.
the fire spray?
I don't know. Maybe you should
'Cause it
call it
goes-
Slave One.
Because it goes do, 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 do.
But wait, why? So,
Apparently, that's the name of the type of ship. There's some stupid excuse, but yeah, because he's getting his own show, and they're afraid to say Slave One. So
Where's
it's
the slave?
Fire Spray.
Where's the Slave 2?
Slave 2 was I thought wasn't
I don't know
Slave
the
2 was
I don't know the expanded universe that well.
No, I thought there was a Slave 2. Cuz what was Jango Fett's ship called?
I think that was just the Slave One. I think Boba Fett just
Oh, and he just took
repainted
it.
yeah.
Okay.
But now it's the Fire Spray. Are you glad you finally got Boba Fett
But
back?
it makes sense cuz
Are you glad, you idiots? No, I got a thing to say here. You all wanted Boba Fett back, and now it's stupid prequel Boba Fett, and he's fat, and they don't even have the name of his ship. Good job, guys.
I
Thanks
will
for watching
say,
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, like
It's a
when-
Western.
When you see like Mando versus Boba Fett looks like such a fucking puss compared to Mandalorian.
I'm so mad it's the prequel Boba Fett. Like,
So what's
So
the difference between the prequel and
because now I gotta get reminded that he's a clone, and then I gotta get reminded the stormtroopers were all clones, and whatever.
But that's the thing is they weren't though. Then they changed that too.
I know they changed it too, but still, I don't like Boba Fett, and I hate that people brought him back, and now he's ruined
Boba
forever.
Fett, where?
But Boba
Also, he
Fett
fucking
wait, so,
died.
If you just had a Boba Fett fly in here and die, that would
So
be
wait,
pretty
so
good.
Boba Fett wasn't always a clone until the prequels, I guess.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
like a retcon.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
a
yeah,
retcon.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They changed his entire.
So
backstory.
Boba Fett was just some dude in the movies. Like they
Yeah.
didn't even think about it.
and then they changed his accent in the special edition to match the
Oh,
prequels.
because he was like, "Oi, mate, needs Boba Fett, mate. I'll throw boomerang
and now he's
at a
back,
Wookiee."
and he's fat, and he can't even call his spaceship the right name.
I have people.
Thanks, all you idiots who watched Mandalorian season
You're
one and thought it was
really,
good.
really harping on this.
I'm
Just
also,
Tony,
Mandalorian
I think
season
you need.
one's-
I think you need a refreshing Dr Pepper to calm
You're right.
down.
You're right. You're right.
I also,
I love a
um,
refreshing Dr. Pepper.
in case anybody who's watching that watches my stream, and I do have a few people from Australia. I'm sorry, I do Australian accents.
I think he's
every
actually
once in
New
a while.
Zealand.
Oh no, but he's from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Okay, I have family in New
You're
Zealand.
like I don't care about the Kiwis. Fuck
No,
them.
I mean I have family in New Zealand and I have family in like Australia. I have family all over. Like, but I'm sorry I do Australian accents so bad.
So anyway, Green Goblin blows up the fire spray. And I like this. There's some really good transitions in this movie we were talking about. I like the explosion turns into everyone's
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
caps
the
at
caps.
graduation. And at graduation, Mary Jane breaks up with Flash Thompson.
And he's like, whatever.
Yeah,
You're lost.
And Peter's like not sad at all that Uncle Ben died the night before. I mean, I wouldn't be either.
no,
It
he
wasn't
is
the
sad. He
night
cries
before.
after this.
Yeah, but during the ceremony, he's like totally cool.
It wasn't the
Well,
night
he
before.
doesn't want to cry in front of everyone. Oh yeah, it's definitely not the day
it's
before. It's a
supposed to be
live.
like
fucking-
way later.
It's like 2 weeks later.
Oh.
because
yeah.
you think like they're gonna go to like they had to have had
Oh
a
no, no,
funeral and all
no!
that
I get
stuff.
it. I just think he realized that Uncle Ben was a piece of shit.
Anyway, so this movie, a lot of people have an issue with this, getting Peter out of high school.
Oh yeah.
Because he's in high school for a while in the comics, and they kind of like just rushed him to college, probably because their Spider-Man was 26 and looked 26.
Yeah.
That's one good thing the new movies do. Like, those actors are in their early to mid-20s, but they don't look it. They look
Well,
like teenagers.
I guess for me too, the comic or the cartoon in the '90s, he was in college. He went to Empire State University.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
it made
which is why
sense
I
to
think
me.
I didn't have a problem with
I
it at
felt
the time.
like this was like that's
I
what
think
was
older
as a
Spider-Man fans were
Yeah.
having an issue with him not being in high
did
school.
read some of the comics, but I mostly in the '90s I only really read like 2099, and I read
Hmm.
other comics of Spider-Man. But I more watched the cartoon. That's where
Yeah,
I got most of my
me too.
Spider-Man knowledge.
But yeah, he gets an apartment with Harry that Norman is paying for, which contradicts something he says later on. But yeah, this is where Peter is crying because, you know, his
He's
uncle
like-
couldn't be there, and the last thing he did was get into a fight, and I knew people who, like, really related to that. So there's actually a lot of human moments in this that people can really relate to that I think really help it, especially in the second one, too.
Honestly, it always made me afraid. Like, what if something I say to somebody is the last thing I ever say to them, and I say
Yeah.
something like be an asshole?
Yeah.
Like seeing this movie really changed who I kind of was as a person.
Well, you grew as that.
Did you just go around being like, I hope you die every
no,
time
I
you
mean
said-
like no. I felt like I kind of tried to be a nicer person because I was like I
Yeah,
don't want
well-
like to be like fuck you and blah
Fuck
blah
you,
blah.
I hate you,
'Cause
have a nice day
'cause
and don't
seriously,
die.
like you know, I told you earlier when I went to see this movie, I got in a fight with my mom, and then all I could think of is like, what if I got in a fight with my mom, yelled at her because I couldn't see Spider-Man, and then something happened to my mom, and then I'm like, oh my god, you know.
I think you would have been justified in that. I'll
God damn it, Justin.
So then...
No, but all I'm saying is, if
No,
Uncle Ben,
you
no,
are
no,
ridiculous.
fuck Uncle Ben, because he should heed his own advice, and because he's the one that instigated being a dick to him. He's like, oh, you're
he
changing.
wasn't being a dick.
Yes, he was. Like, oh, great power. He's riding my man,
My man, what?
Peter Parker.
Justin, I notice you're having a problem with someone being very like fatherly and loving. Do you would you want to tell us anything about Rock and Rob? Is there
I
any kind of
have-
resentment you have here?
Okay, listen, I have severe daddy issues.
Oh, you do.
And now that they took away me being able to output that on OnlyFans, my only thing I can do is go after Uncle Ben. And Uncle Ben Rice also hate it.
Okay.
Anything Uncle Ben.
So we get the crime fighting montage because now he's going to make up for being an asshole and fight crime. And now he has the suit. Where did he get it? Who knows?
He made it himself.
Yes.
That's a really nice looking suit.
Yeah,
to make
that
yourself.
actually is.
He's a scientist.
No, he's no. He is so fucking dumb. So, Uncle,
I thought he was
wow.
my man Peter Parker.
Not
coming down on
anymore.
me. He is so fucking dumb.
No, he let this Uncle Ben shit get to his head, and stupidity must fall right, the apple right off the tree.
I think you're really it's the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, or the apple did fall far from
that
the tree.
motherfucker,
Not
Uncle
the
Ben.
apple just falls right
That
off the
mother-
tree. Yeah, apples fall off trees. The thing is, did it fall far or not too far?
Well, it fell on both these guys' heads. Because let me hear you out. So Peter Parker needs to pay for college and do all that stuff. And he's hold on.
The apple fell right off the tree.
And Peter Parker is apparently a scientist.
he is
like
a
science.
scientist.
He's not a scientist yet.
He could probably get a scholarship to the school and stuff, but instead he wants to pay his own way and do all this stupid crap. Or I'll just be a photographer instead. How about you get your full ride thanks to the
How about you just use? Yeah, I have a problem later because he gets fired by Dr. Connors.
Yeah.
And Norman's like, I'll get you a job. And he's like, no. And it's like, dude, this is how
No,
the real
he could-
world works. Use nepotism, use your advantage. We live in a capitalist society. You got to take every advantage you can.
He could use his science, his intellect, and all the people he knows to get a really good job, go to a really good school and stuff, and then do photography as a hobby.
No.
Instead, he flips it around.
Yes.
And wants to do photography as his job. And
Anyway.
hold on, there's a scene earlier in the movie
Okay.
when he is photographing Mary Jane
Yes.
in the spider exhibit in the beginning.
Yeah.
And he's taking pictures of her, right? Like this. And she's not even looking at the camera. She's looking left field.
You know what's weird? It's a Canon camera.
Yeah.
And in the modern
Sony movie.
In a modern Sony movie, that would have been like a Sony
That is
whatever.
Hold on,
Surprising.
did Sony have DSLRs back then?
They probably didn't,
We should look that up.
which is why it
They
was
were
in
probably,
there.
you know what we ought to do? So we don't have to have anybody else's
Oh, don't get
shit
me wrong.
in our
In the
movies.
Amazing Spider-Man, he's on his Sony Vaio with
Yeah,
the
and
Sony
it's like,
camera.
hey,
and
are
his
you
Sony...
playing your PlayStation 2 and no other system
Listen,
exists?
all I'm saying is Peter Parker and Uncle Ben are dumbasses.
Peter Pak. Peter
Peter
Pak.
Pak.
Oh, Peter Parker.
And Uncle Pang.
Uncle Pang.
Uncle Pang and Peter Pak.
Guy with 8 hands. Sounds hot.
He has those tights and that tight little.
Dresses like a spider, he looks like a bug. But we should all just give him one big hug.
So we get a couple cameos in the scene. I think it's Jim Norton does he stinks
Yep.
and I don't like him. And then we got Lucy Lawless with the guy
Yep.
with 8 hands. Sounds hot, which for the longest time I did not know was
I didn't
Lucy
know
Lawless.
until I forget who actually told me that like way late. You know, it was like I was younger, but someone told me about that it was her, and I was like, wow.
And then
Crazy.
this is where we get introduced to J. Jonah Jameson,
Yep.
who is so great. He's still he
Yeah.
played it in the cartoons. Since then, he's been in a bunch of shows as J. Jonah Jameson, the Ultimate Spider-Man. He's pretty good in that. And he's playing it now in the new ones where he's basically Alex Jones.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Well,
the best.
that's what I liked. Was he in the video game?
He was not in the
Okay.
video game.
No, I like that they pivoted him to being this. Like he was in the video game. He's fired from the Bugle. He left the Bugle.
Oh, so he started
And
a podcast.
Yeah, so he started a podcast.
But I like in
where
the new
he-
one, it's like the Daily Bugle's an alternative news source.
Yeah, I think that's honestly the best way to go with it because
the best way to
it
get your
makes
news
more
is from
sense.
alternative news. Well,
No,
if you say
I'm-
so, Kieran, I'll believe you.
Oh my
I'll
god!
have a Dr. Pepper to that.
Am I right?
Oh
That
my
mainstream
God.
media, am I right?
Oh my god! Here we go.
Anyway, we also get to see Elizabeth Banks as Betty Brant. Ted Raimi is an original character. There's another character in there.
Robbie.
Rob, is he original character?
Yeah, Robbie is actually in the comic. I mean, in the cartoon, and I'm pretty sure he's in the comic too. But he
Okay.
is. There's episodes of the.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
the, he's
I
the
remember
guy
that
who in
character
the
now.
cartoon he was always Peter's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they make a mention to Eddie Brock. They say
Yeah.
Eddie's been on it for weeks. He can't get a picture of this guy, so they put a bounty out for a picture of Spider-Man. Mary Jane, she bumps into Peter, and she lies about being super famous, unlike me, who was very famous. I don't have to lie. I just went to Astronomicon, and everyone kept saying, "You're the very famous Tony from Hack Movies," and I said, "Yes, I am."
This is like a superhero giving themselves, a super villain giving themselves their own nickname.
I like to think we're all equally famous. Well, me more so. But, like, you guys don't go around talking about how famous you are?
I don't go around talking about anything.
No, you're missing out. You're missing out on a lot of fun.
I don't talk to people.
But yeah, she's just a waitress, and she's like
Whoa.
ashamed of it.
Just a waitress?
That's what she says.
I waited tables for 3 years of my life, man.
Yeah, it's kind of down-putting of you.
She's putting herself down. She's just like, Harry will think it's beneath
Well,
him.
Harry would because he's all rich and shit.
Although he doesn't seem like it. He's friends
No,
with
he would
Peter.
be totally cool. I
Yeah.
think honestly, I think that's one thing. So Harry, I feel like gets the shit end of this. Like that's why you need to see the third one because there's some really great moments with Harry and everybody and
If
stuff
only
like
he
that.
wasn't dressed like a snowboarder.
Yeah. But he has actually a really good character arc throughout all the movies, and also I feel like Mary Jane, not for nothing, but she's kind of the worst in certain positions because Harry was being pretty good to her, I think, the whole time. And then the only thing that really happens is the awkward scene later. But even in the third movie, like, Mary Jane's pretty rough to Peter throughout most of the movie until, like, you know, everything comes together. But, I mean, she understands, you know, oh, I'm a stage actor. But Peter Parker, like, he's been in so many near-death situations.
Does she ever talk about acting before? Just in 2, right?
No, she mentions it.
She mentions it in this one. She's
when
trying
they flirt,
to be
she's
one.
like, I want to be an actress.
Yeah, and then she
Apparently
becomes
she
one.
played Cinderella in first grade. They don't give that part to first graders.
Yeah. But
you know
that's
what I
it,
was
so-
in first grade? I was in The Sound of Music. You know what they gave me a part?
Nazi?
I was a Nazi. Because the first graders wanted to be in it, but they couldn't have big parts because we couldn't remember names. So, like, when the soldiers came out, they just put us in Nazi uniforms.
You couldn't remember your names?
I mean, lines.
Did they put you in, like, an actual
Yes.
Nazi?
Yes, there's a picture.
Oh
Because it's
my
The Sound of
God.
Music. Nazis are in it.
But still, that's a first
The
grade.
problem is, so I'm
if it were my family and they found out, like, my family was like, they would not let me ever.
So when I was in first grade, my mom made me the Nazi uniform because it's in The Sound of Music.
Your mom made it for you?
Yeah, it was Catholic school. They didn't spend money on it. Anyway.
Dude, Nazis killed family members of mine.
Yeah, they got family members of mine killed.
Your family was on their side.
Yeah,
my grandpa.
and because my great uncle was led by him, he froze to death in Russia.
Nah.
So here's the funny thing.
They would never let my family's all like World War II vets. They would flip.
Well, to be fair,
shit.
the Nazis are the bad guys in the play.
No, I get it.
So
but
here's
they
the
would be
thing.
Like,
So I'm in first grade. I don't know what a Nazi is. I have no concept of what World War II is. But I'm in my outfit because I'm gonna go to be in the play. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna play outside for a little bit. So I grew up in a part in Northeast Philly, which is a very Russian Jewish neighborhood. And so I'm out there dressed as a Nazi, like dancing.
They're back.
And my mom, she like comes home. She's like, Tony, how about you play inside? I'm like, no, I want to play outside. She's like, no, Tony, get in the house right now.
Do you have like the armband and stuff?
Holy
I had the armband,
shit, dude.
And then I had it for years afterwards. I put it in like a costume pile, and I didn't know what it was. And then later on, I learned about World War II, and I was like, holy shit, why did they dress me up like that?
Oh my God.
You never catch me dead in an offensive costume like that, Tony. Whew. Can't believe what you did.
I'm the only one who has.
Oh, don't say anything. They'll find something.
Hey, I'm pretty squeaky clean. I am a good guy. The only thing they're gonna find of me is
did
a
put
picture
a
of me
few
when I
years
was
back.
19
I
and
found the
looked good.
picture and I posted. I'm like, do you guys think I could run for office? So anyway, where were we? Nazis. I wasn't expecting Nazis to show up.
You brought it up.
Oh yeah, because first grade play. That's how I remembered it. Harry is secretly dating Mary Jane.
Yeah,
I can't believe
And
this.
this part's relatable. I liked a girl around this time, and she really liked my friend. He didn't like her. So then I told him like, hey, I'm like really into her. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And then he started dating her to spite me for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, I slept with her years later, but it was really heartbreaking at the time.
Congratulations, Tony.
It was okay.
Were you
but yeah,
were you wearing your armband, Tony?
I was not wearing my armband. So yeah, Peter Parker, he turns down that job and he decides to take pictures of himself because He's a voyeur and an exhibitionist. I guess
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Well, I guess he shouldn't have a job with the lizard anyway.
Yeah, who is his teacher later on.
Yeah.
Maybe there's 2 Dr. Connors. I don't know.
No, Dr. Connors is the lizard.
Yeah, but I like that Jameson's like, no, I'm not going to get you a job. I'll get you meat. A nice thing of Christmas meat. But after this, Osborn finds out that the board of directors, even though he's doing a great job, they're going to sell to Quest Aerospace.
Yeah.
Who apparently has a ton of money after their horrible...
They probably got like insurance money or something like that.
It said they restructured.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, because remember, the only thing that happened is...
that suit blew up.
The suit blew up and all the generals and stuff died, and the generals were the one putting them down.
For
so
all they know, too, like, it could have been like, oh, the suit malfunction blew up the whole place.
I think that's maybe what they think, because they say it's a tragedy. They never say it's an attack. But yeah, they fire Norman Osborn.
Yeah. He's like, you know how much
I sacrifice!
Yeah.
You're out, Norman.
Yeah.
He's like, am I? Then we go to the World Unity Fair.
Yeah, with Macy Gray hosting.
Nothing ages a movie more than Macy Gray. I don't even know which song she's singing. The only song I know is where she's like, I try to say goodbye.
Yeah, that's the only one I know.
That's the only one I know.
Try to walk away and
what was the name of the parade?
The World Unity Festival.
It wasn't the Macy's Day Parade? Because Macy Gray is
No,
there?
but there's a lot of product placement in this for, where is it?
There's a lot of fake balloons, too.
There are fake
Like
balloons, which were in the
3D
video game.
Oh.
Like the Rastafarian one?
Yeah.
What the fuck was
But
that?
yeah, there's product placements for United Airlines, Singular Wireless, which was my first phone, was a Singular Samsung Wireless.
It became AT&T. They bought it out.
Yeah, they bought it out, which is so funny
Wait,
when you're
so
looking
it
at
was-
this thing, like Singular Samsung.
Singular was something else before it was Singular. Then it became AT&T, but it was the one that Jamie Lee Curtis used to do commercials for.
Yeah,
I can't
they
remember
did
what it was,
do
though.
a Singular commercial for this with Spider-Man swinging around the USA. Let's look at it right now.
Talk about covering the nation. Nobody does it better than Singular Wireless, with the simplest and most affordable rate plans in the country. Singular Wireless.
What a great commercial. Anyway, Cup of Noodles is represented in this. Where's the other one? Budweiser and the Lion King on Broadway.
Oh, and Terminex, the
yeah,
extermination
Terminex.
company, too.
Oh, man, they must have really fought for this one. Like,
Yes,
we
'cause
need to be in
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
I do
If
like...
you think about it, it's a little bit ironic that they'd put a pesticide that kills spiders in a Spider-Man
I
movie.
do like that, besides the Dr. Pepper, they put all their product placement in this scene.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense because Times Square is nothing but product placement. Where are we at here? Oh, the Green Goblin finally shows up.
Hello, my dear.
It's Spider-Man!
What do you think of the design?
I liked it, actually. I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it either. He's green. He
thought
looks
it
like
was
a
cool.
goblin. He does kind of look like a Power Ranger. And he has the problem with Power Rangers where he bobs his head
So-
to signify
yeah,
that he's talking.
Is Osborn, is Oscorp, are they putting on the show? Because like they have like the best balcony. Like
I think they are. And by the way, I've never seen a stone building with a balcony in Times Square, and I've spent a lot of time there.
Yeah.
well, yeah, they blew it up.
Yeah, that's right. I
true.
forgot. This is a historical film. The original I showed you right before, what the original mask looked like. Have you ever seen it?
No.
So it was like a latex mask that like formed to his face, and like, you know, it was makeup effects with yellow eyes, and it even had the purple hood, and then it had like kind of like a biomechanical chest, and it looked really, really cool. But I think it would have just been like so much time putting that on every day. And I think once they decided on the flight suit, they're like, what if it was like a helmet since it's a flight suit?
Right.
So I think for the story, it makes more sense. That alternate design is pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah,
though.
it looks cool,
I wish
yeah.
it would have been in the movie.
It's kind of like the original Predator design, way better.
Yeah, it looks great. But no, the only problem is a lot of times they have that grate in front of his mouth, but a lot of times you can see he's not saying what he's saying. And then sometimes he's bobbing his head even when he's not talking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. But this fight scene's pretty damn good. He uses his disintegrating pumpkin bomb.
Yep.
Which he should just use all the fucking time. He should literally not have any
Well,
other
we
weapon.
don't know how many he has.
I mean, maybe if you think about it, he probably only grabbed what he could. It's not like he's still producing that technology from Oscorp
no,
or
he
whatever,
still works
you know?
there. He killed the board of investors.
That's true, yeah. But I mean, like, do you think like they have a whole bunch, or do you think they have like a finite amount?
Well, we find out in 2 that he has a whole secret lair in his apartment.
True, yeah. Huh.
I do. So the weird thing is the board is like, that's our glider, and he kills them. And it's like, oh, that must be to cover up his tracks. It's like, but no, there were a lot of scientists and stuff. Like, someone eventually is going to be like, oh yeah, we work for the guy who made that. We can tell you where he lives.
They'll be like, yeah, you know, we work for the guy that made that. And you know what? My daughter went to high school with the guy who does spider powers, by the way. Like,
wow, what a narc.
We pretty much know where everybody is.
Literally, someone in the company should be like, yeah, that's our boss.
Yeah.
Like, we make that. Maybe it got stolen. I don't know.
Sounds like Norman with a weird
this
like
is also,
goblin voice.
The fight scene is a lot of fun, though.
Yeah.
And I also have to mention Mary Jane is wearing a really nice red dress.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure someone wrote an article about how it's super offensive and they complained about it because...
Back when the movie came out? I
No,
don't think
I'm sure
anybody cared.
someone's gone back.
Yeah.
I've been like, here's why the movie was really bad. Her dress. I bet you it exists.
Now that you mention it, my sister wore a very similar dress the next year in 2003 to prom.
Yeah, I knew a
same
lot
dress.
of people who did that back
The
then.
same dress. She got it from
not
Kirsten
that
Dunst.
movie, yeah.
Well, there was a
But she also
store in
did
my
like,
mall.
She also had like the hair and the chopsticks in the bun.
Yeah.
There was a
That's fine.
that was a style. I mean, that was
It was the
there
style of the time.
I mean, there was a lot of stores like that were selling like the Asian style dresses, and everybody was buying them up like it was a thing back
Yeah.
then.
You know how many
But I mean,
friends I had who were into anime and would buy geese?
Well, the thing is, not for anything, but you're helping out those businesses, and those people didn't give a shit about white people or whoever
man,
wore
you're
them.
on
It was,
thin ice.
I'm
You're on
just
thin
saying
ice. The internet's coming for you.
I'm just saying, back then, those people were like, "Hey, we make these
Well,
dresses. I'm glad you like
The
them."
point I'm trying to make
regardless-
is cancel Kirsten Dunst. Anyway, keep going.
Norman doesn't like red dresses. He likes black dresses.
That's right. He did mention that
Harry
earlier.
he makes a very poignant point about that.
I like that. He's only there to kill the board. I don't know why he's trying to attack her and everyone else.
This is the start of him getting a little too into Mary Jane.
Yeah, well, they did say the enhancer makes you insane, so I guess it makes sense that his
Oh, now he
logic...
likes younger woman all of a sudden?
No, like his logic's because he really should only be there to kill the board and leave, but now he's like,
I mean,
now I want to kill this person.
He does like hurt people that
No.
like are kind of like his
That's
friends.
very.
I mean,
it's very dark man of him.
He horrifies an old woman at one point, so
yeah,
it's like
I do like during the fight, Spider-Man like knocks him down. And there's that one extra. Did you see the one extra when he comes out and fights the cops? The one guy just goes, that
No.
guy's become like a meme now.
Really?
Like everyone wants him to come
Oh.
back for No Way Home. The guy just goes like this.
we should also mention too. This is where you get the Stan Lee cameo.
Oh, right.
Right, yeah.
He saves the people from the
Yep.
fallen rocks, right? My favorite is the kid who just doesn't know how to move out of the way.
He was
Oh,
like,
he's just like, oh.
And even Spider-Man's like, come on, move, kid.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I kept, when I was watching it, I kind of want to like mix in clips from Jingle All the Way. Very similar scene.
yeah.
I have a funny story about that when we get to one scene. But yeah, this scene is a lot of fun. I like the cartoony. We'll meet again, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I like the way it
Green
ends.
Goblin's hit or miss. His CGI model, it's not
The
like
one part
colored
that,
right.
The one part that looks the worst is when he's floating around near the floor.
Yeah.
and there's the dust cloud, and the people behind you really see the CG there.
That's a
bit
problem.
rough.
CG had an issue, especially around this time. Like they couldn't color correct it right.
Yeah,
like it looked
I mean,
like it was a little
especially
bit different.
now with the with the Marvel movies the way they are now.
Now they're
Everything
fine.
is the best possible animation you
Yeah.
can ever see. But
Well,
this is,
watch it in 20 years, see what you think.
I don't know.
And actually,
I think some of
actually,
these
one
will
thing
hold
that
up.
the new movies are lucky with that these. So the problem with these movies, a lot of people say it's like, oh, he's always taking his mask off. Mm-hmm. But you see, when he has the mask, it's hard for him to like convey emotion.
Yeah.
it's not like Batman where you can see his eyes and mouth.
Well, it's
Once
a
you get-
solid it's like a face shield in
Yeah.
the mask. So
that way they would have to do that thing. So the new ones are actually pretty smart, like with Deadpool and whatnot, and Spider-Man, where like you can CGI it a little bit to show like the eyes moving
the
and
eyes
stuff.
moving and stuff. Yeah.
So I think they got lucky with that. But back then, what are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
I think there was early costume designs where they made the eyes like really big, like the comics, and then
Oh,
they ended
yeah.
up not doing it. Oh, Spider-Man saves Mary Jane and he turns into a wooden dummy.
Yeah.
We had to rewind that for you. Like,
Yeah,
literally, watch the scene. Spider-Man is just not moving.
He doesn't move, and I never noticed that until someone posted it online, and I saw it, and I was just laughing about it.
I remember
because you don't look at him; you look at Mary Jane the entire time.
So the first time I saw Aliens in Blu-ray, like I knew that Newt is mostly a wooden dummy when they're running.
I didn't.
But there's
know.
one scene where like Ripley's there, but you look at the hands; it's just clearly like wooden hands.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of wooden dummies. It's really noticeable when you see an obvious dummy in something. Am I right?
I guess so.
Yeah. We don't do that here. We use real. We're real here.
These are real dead bodies.
Those
over
are.
here.
That's actually Tobey Maguire and Andrew
celebrities.
Garfield dead. They're decomposing right now.
I'm looking at a wooden dummy right now.
Oh, got
It's
him.
Kieran.
Oh!
Got me.
Fuck.
Norman finally interacts with his alter ego. I love the whole mirror thing.
Yeah.
I love that it shows him going back and forth, and then the camera keeps cutting as if it was like a reverse shot. I
Yeah.
really like that. But basically, he's like, I've been killing people for you, and now we're going to team up. And he's like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
But there's only one person who could stop him. And in my mind, it's like, yeah, probably one of his employees that's going to rat him out to the cops. But in the movie's mind, it's Spider-Man. Only he can stop him.
I mean, he's insane, I guess, so that makes sense.
But I mean, like, I feel like you just get enough guns on him, you're going to take out care of Green Goblin pretty quick. He's not like he's super strong. He's not bulletproof.
Maybe the suit kind of is.
I feel like you can shoot him enough where.
I mean, yeah, but like, I don't know who's gonna do it. I don't know.
The cops?
I guess if you think about it, the military should probably be like you know, if you think about it, New York City, this happening. I'm pretty sure the president at this point would be like, "Sir, there's a green man flying around on weapons."
So
that,
I know
shooting missiles and blowing
the
up New
defense
York.
people were killed, but I'm sure they wrote reports about the glider,
Yeah,
and someone could
that's
be like,
what I
"Hey,
mean.
wait a minute."
That is true.
We were
Unless
looking
maybe
into
they
the
were
glider.
maybe they were kind of going in on, for business on
Hey,
their
didn't
own.
we authorize a payment for a glider? Yeah, we did. See, eventually, if Spider-Man just did nothing, they would have gotten him at some point.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
I like that J. Jonah Jameson, he talks about what is it called? J. Jonah Jameson.
You want to try that again?
J.
How does
Jonah
it feel?
Jameson.
How does it feel that I'm the one screwing up names now?
What did I say that's wrong?
Jamin,
Steven Spielberg.
Babins.
What's wrong with Steven Spielberg?
What's that song from Shrek, the really slow one?
Who is that?
Steven Spielberg.
Who was that playwright? The one that's a robot, also.
Yeah, who wrote Cats?
Android
It was
Lloyd Webber.
Android Lloyd Webber.
Android Lloyd
And
Webber.
Hallelujah.
So anyway,
Hallelujah.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Jabin, Jobin,
He's
Jabin,
making up
Zabins.
stuff about Spider-Man, which Peter Parker's upset about. And he calls it slander, and he's like, slander spoken, print is libel. So he knows the difference between libel and slander, and Stuttering John, formerly from the Howard Stern Show, does not, because he's trying to sue people for libel and slander, and he doesn't know the difference. Remember Stuttering John?
Yeah.
From the Howard Stern Show?
Yeah, no, I remember.
And he was on the Tonight Show?
Yeah.
He is the biggest embarrassment. This show gets more views than his current stuff, and he was a millionaire at one point.
Wow.
He is the biggest loser on earth. It's pretty fucking funny. He'll live stream with other losers, and then cockroaches will like fly into his webcam. Look it up.
Ew.
It's pretty good.
Slanderman.
He's like, they're suing me. I'm suing them for libel and slander. It's like, well, which one is it? They're two different fucking things.
I feel like it's like, why would you want to? How come these guys turn on Howard Stern at some point? Like, all of his weird rogues gallery that he has of those people, like, eventually just get it in their head that they need to turn on him.
Howard Stern kind of sucks these days too.
Yeah,
He's gone crazy
I haven't really
too.
listened to him.
But yes, JJ, I like. Huh?
What's that?
J. Jonah Jameson. He goes from being.
I think we should turn on Tony.
Oh, I felt like you did that months ago.
Oh, yeah, probably, yeah.
So J. Jonah Jameson, I like how he goes to being a dick to Peter to suddenly protecting him when the Green Goblin shows up.
Yeah.
To show that he's not like all terrible.
Well, I think it's to protect his asset, not help his boy.
Oh, I thought he was being very noble. Never mind. He's an
I don't
asshole.
think so. I think he was. I think he was doing it to be like, oh, those are my pictures. You can't get them. See,
like it's the 40s.
Because he doesn't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. He just goes like, because
I thought he was just trying to protect the kid.
Because Green Goblin's like, hey, who's the guy that's taking pictures of Spider-Man? And he's just like, I don't know. I get him sent into me. Blah 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 blah. And I know he's, Peter Parker standing right there, but he doesn't want, then he kills Peter Parker, and then it's like, oop, I don't get my Spider-Man things anymore.
Yeah, and Green Goblin has a sleep spray.
Yeah.
Which, again, he should just use.
He's like, sleep.
Fucking disintegrating bomb, sleep, punch, spray. Just do that all the fucking time. You'll win every goddamn fight.
Maybe it was Terminex gas.
Maybe Spider-Man made a little after that happened, because sometimes Spider-Man gets in fights and something will happen to him, and then he goes, okay, for the next time I have to
hold
fix
my
this.
breath.
so he knows that he has sleep spray, so he makes some sort of little gas mask interface in his thing.
But this Spider-Man doesn't make gadgets.
Yeah, he does.
This
he made
one?
a suit.
The suit, but it's not like a gadget suit.
He made
Anyway.
I could squash you like a bug right now, but I'm offering you a choice. Join me. Imagine what we could accomplish together.
Then we get the famous scene of him wanting to team up.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention before this, they had a scene where Green Goblin or Norman Osborn's talking to the Green Goblin mask.
Yeah.
And they made an action figure of that, and I have it. Kevin Jones gave it to me. So you could just recreate the scene of Norman Osborn talking to the mask if you want.
Kevin Jones from the new Peg Warmers podcast.
Kevin Jones from the Peg Warmers podcast,
which debuts
already
several weeks after whatever this is right now.
Before this,
before
yes.
this, I mean, yeah, before
it debuted a day before the G.I. Joe review we put out.
Oh, that's right.
Which I'm sure did very, very well.
Yeah, it got 1 million views.
I believe that.
A bajillion.
May God strike Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield down if that's wrong. Oh, too late. But yeah, so he tries to team up with Spider-Man. He's like, why don't we join forces and take over the city somehow? Not really sure what his end goal is.
I mean, I guess if you think about it, a Spider-Man and Green Goblin decided to just take over the city, they probably could. They could probably waste the entire police department.
I'm not sure to what end, though.
I mean, just take over and be like, we're the mayors now.
Again, they're not immune to bullets. They could just get... So eventually, the army's going to show up.
Yeah, but they could probably get enough people to follow them. Like, could you imagine? Like, there would
Oh, now they're starting a movement.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
that. Like, there would be people like, I'll protect you,
Well, Norman
Spider-Man.
does run for mayor in the new video games.
That's
or he
true,
is
yeah,
the mayor.
yeah,
I forget which one it is.
Yeah, I think he is the mayor.
Isn't the New York Police Department one of the biggest paramilitary groups in the world?
I think
like
so.
Number 9 or like
after
in the
9/11.
cartoon, they have laser guns.
Yeah.
Because they weren't allowed to have real guns for some reason.
Wouldn't you much rather have a laser gun?
I guess so. And if anything, that's more deadly. I don't know what they were thinking there. But yeah, he basically tells them, like, hey, the city's going to hate you because they love when heroes fall and fail. And you should just team up with me. Get back to me later. And then he flies away. And the city does start to hate him because the Bugle is making up lies that he attacked the Bugle, even though that's clearly not what happened.
Fake news.
Exactly. You talk about that all the time off camera. I have to stop you
The
sometimes.
Bugle. I'm talking about the Bugle. Fucking, it is. It's J. Jonah Jameson.
Peter takes what did he say? Like 2 trains and a cab to bump into Mary Jane.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, he's stalking her. He's a weirdo.
Yeah,
He's like, I missed.
He's like, your mom
I
told
missed
my
the
aunt.
window.
Your mom told my aunt that told me, and then I took a couple buses here, and she's like, yeah, that's great. Goodbye.
Yeah. I guess, but I mean, I don't know. They seem very close, all of them.
But yeah, so they flirt.
Yeah.
And then she walks down an alley, and then there just happens to be 2 rapists that somehow collide with 2 different rapists. I don't know if they're in the
it
same
was the guys
rapist
from the Beat It music video,
like those
where they
2
just all
guys,
meet up.
Those 2 guys were just on their way somewhere and saw her.
Well,
and then the 2 other guys came out of nowhere.
Well, I think what happened
And
was
they were like-
there was 4 of them in the alley.
Okay.
And then the 2 left to get snacks.
Oh, okay.
And they saw
But they were waiting in the alley.
prey, yeah.
Okay.
And then there was a pincer attack, like
I don't
Jurassic
understand
Park.
why you would ever, if you were in the city and you were in New York City and you did that kind of shit, why you would do it knowing that there's a fucking superhuman, spider-human.
Or, the Second Amendment should be able to stop you. Just,
I mean, but if you think about it, Spider-Man can literally get from
That's
one
what
end
stops
of
me
Manhattan
from doing a lot of crimes.
to the other side of Manhattan.
Yeah.
In a minute, if he hears a scream,
they're probably like, we're too low level for Spider-Man.
maybe. But I'd
Tony,
be like, guys, I think I'm going to give up crime because I really don't want to get punched by a superhuman.
That happens in the Dark Knight. Remember the bad guys? They see the bat signal and they're like, no,
that's
not
true.
tonight.
That's
Go
the thing.
home.
Like,
Did you just say you don't commit crimes because you might be shot by a pedestrian using their legal right to bear arms? That's what you said.
So anyway, Spider-Man beats up all the bad guys without his mask on.
Yeah.
And that's like a fun scene where he's got to hide his face with the rain.
And it's
whatnot.
like, vindicated.
No, that's the next one. That's the next one.
Yeah.
But yeah, he saves Mary Jane.
Oh, it's like, and they say that a hero
That's
can
not
save
in the
us.
scene.
I know, but it's in the music video. I think
right,
they show
it is.
that scene where it's like him doing the double punches.
I want to say something about Mary Jane, but I can't, so we're going to cut to one of our female co-hosts saying it for me.
Kirsten Dunst's tits look great.
Thanks.
Just going to say I was 14 when this movie came out, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Kirsten Dunst.
You went into that theater with boys.
Kirsten Dunst is
and
like
you
a-
left a Spider-Man.
Yeah. Wait, was I? No, I was 15. I was 15 years
Yeah.
old. Yeah.
I had this argument with a friend recently because they on their show they were like, she was never hot, and I sent him the picture from this. I'm like, don't act like you didn't put the Spider-Man DVD on and freeze frame that. And he's like, eh. I mean, Kirsten Dunst, she's like a 6 or 7
Well, when
on
I was
a
in the
good
movie
day,
theater,
but-
I was like, holy shit. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, and then we get the famous 69 kiss. Is that what it's called? That's what I call it.
The 69 kiss?
Yeah, and this is like the most iconic thing from the movie. It's on the back of the
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
cover.
No, it
it
really
literally
is.
takes up the back of the cover. Like, imagine being a kid. It's like, oh, cool. What's all the bad guys you fight? It's just that.
That's weird that they make it look like it was in daylight and not in the rain on the back.
Oh, there was an issue lately. Someone took scenes from No Way Home, and they're like, I color corrected it to look like the Sam Raimi movies, and it was all this gold stuff, and it's like, that's not what the movies look like. That's what the posters look like, you idiot. Like, that's not... People are misremembering the color correction for those movies. Okay. But yeah, the 69 kiss happens, and apparently it was a bitch to film.
I'd imagine. I mean,
Yeah.
we were saying that earlier when I was watching this. Like, I will bet this was a nightmare when you're just like upside down, and I don't know, when you get water in your nose,
It sucks.
It's the worst feeling ever. And then you're like,
Yeah.
like I can imagine being upside down, water's pouring all over you. You're in that suit, and you can tell it's soaking wet in the scene.
He's just in there getting waterboarded.
Yeah, and he's basically right, and it's he's upside down, so the water has to be going up his nose. Like it must just be you're soggy, you're all damp
That's
in that suit.
A real sloppy 69.
Yeah, he's probably all like where his skin is all waterlogged
Yeah.
and shit. He's getting like trench foot,
Also,
hanging upside down for who knows how long
Also,
to film this scene.
don't spiders hate rain? Isn't that what that nursery rhyme's about?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
yeah.
he says it at the end of the movie.
He does sing it at the end of the movie. But yeah, the next day, there's a fire. And Spider-Man's got to save some woman's baby that she was not...
That she left inside.
That she left in the apartment complex and went about her merry way
She
or
went
something.
to go to the bodega. Stop being a dick.
You take the baby with you.
Oh, yeah.
Again,
Honestly,
I said if the girl had like scabs on her and her teeth were yellow and it's like, oh, that's
Yeah.
clearly a meth head. They're known for
what if
leaving
it
their
was like,
babies. But she looks just like a normal Karen type mom.
There's
Yeah.
a background actor here. It in a blink of an eye, because I just caught it. We didn't rewind it or anything. It kind of looked like a Joe Pesci kind of guy. He's wearing like a suit and a red shirt, and he comes out. He crosses the street. He's like this tiny dude. He just goes. It's really awesome.
But yeah, he goes in and saves the baby.
Yeah,
And then he goes back in because there's another lady screaming.
yeah.
But it's actually the Green Goblin. And if you've seen our it was Collateral Damage. Go back and watch our Collateral Damage review. I edited Arnold being a firefighter in the beginning, getting to a fight with the Green Goblin. It actually works pretty well.
Oh my god.
But actually, he has a purple blanket over him. And this is the closest we get to Green Goblin with the purple hood. I thought that was a nice reference.
Yeah, that's cool.
But he's basically like, hey, it's me again. Have you thought about my offer? And Spider-Man's like, you didn't have to burn a fucking building to get my attention.
Yeah.
And then we get a cool Matrix shot, right?
He goes.
Yeah, he spins and then he goes.
And then he goes all the way back. They couldn't do
Yeah.
the 360 thing, but he goes all the way back. But I like the two blades blow up.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now Spider-Man would just have metal shrapnel
That's
on his
true,
face.
but his suit has its bit of armor, kind of.
No, it's not, because it just shreds his arm.
I mean, but his face has that shielded kind of thing. You could see it. You could see he has a shieldy face.
It's not meant to be a shield. It was a shield for the actor to make the face look better, but it's not actually supposed to be a
It's
shield.
not a shield. It's a symbol. A symbol of hope. Only a hero can save.
Not gonna turn
But this part's weird because then there's like an explosion and Spider-Man just runs away.
Yeah.
And it's like, but the Green Goblin is there.
He's probably like, yo, I can't beat him yet. I have to train and montage it up.
But it's like, what if he just walks outside and starts shooting people? Shouldn't you like...
That's
I
not his
never
MO.
actually thought about that.
Okay, I guess
Yeah,
not.
I don't think Green Goblin like really wants that.
The offer's still on the table.
Okay.
This is called negotiating, Tony.
Yeah, but now we're at Thanksgiving. There's a long passage of time
It's
in
the
this
most
movie.
awkward Thanksgiving scene I've
Like
ever
this movie
seen.
starts in like spring, and now we're in November.
Yeah, well, yeah, because if you think about it, yeah, and then it goes to like graduation, which is like summer.
We didn't get to see what he did during the summer. Anyway, then we get to the Thanksgiving scene, and I like how Norman's normal here. He
Yeah.
seems like a nice family guy.
And then he goes to take the bite. And
Oh, well, that's a little bit later. But yeah, they hear Peter come home, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know he was home."
Yeah.
Well, when he creeps on Mary Jane real quick.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he like eyes her up
he's
and
all like,
down.
like that. He's like, "Oh, I am
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe."
And remember where Peter Parker was? He was beating off an old woman with a stick.
Yeah. So Peter's like sneaking into his room to get changed.
Yeah.
And he didn't even get the cranberry sauce, did he?
I know.
No, he did.
No,
he comes
did,
back
he
when
did,
he
he
goes,
did.
I had to beat an old woman
But
off with a stick.
so Willem Dafoe comes in. I like when Willem Dafoe looks in his room and he says he's kind of a slob.
Yeah.
And Aunt May says all great men are.
Oh,
and we can all agree with that statement.
We
Am
totally
I right?
can. All great men are slobs.
Bit of a slob, isn't he?
All brilliant men are.
Kieran, are you a slob?
I am a slob. I am a slob. Well, how many times is that going to get clipped?
But yeah, this scene is actually pretty good. I like when Norman's standing there, he sees the blood, and then he looks up, Peter's gone. When the camera comes down, he's like closer to the camera to be creepier.
Yeah, because right now he's not sure. He just thinks Spider-Man's after him. He doesn't know that it's Peter Parker yet.
Yeah.
He's just like, what's going on?
He's
in
like,
here?
there's blood on the floor, and I heard walking around. What's
Yeah.
going on up here? But then Peter shows up.
Wait, let's say he picked up the blood and went, and like ate it, like, is that blood? Would he get the spider powers?
No.
I don't know how the transmission of spider DNA works.
I don't think it would.
Do you have to get it from the spider itself?
I think you do.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say, because that's stupid.
Oh, that's stupid, but getting powers from a spider isn't?
No, not at all.
But yeah, this is the part where he tries to eat ahead of time. Aunt May, like,
Yeah, she
smacks
smacks
him, and then he's like sharpening the
And
knife.
I was like,
or
what if
whatever.
like he just obliterated Aunt May, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like, that's it, pumpkin bomb.
But
poof,
Peter,
and
like,
she's a skeleton.
Peter fucks up because
Yeah.
he's bleeding. He didn't bandage it up.
He didn't bandage his
spray
wrist.
it with his web.
Yeah.
Well, he had to beat it off an old woman.
He had to beat an old lady.
He should have said that. Oh, the woman, I literally did beat her off with a stick, and I cut myself during it.
But yeah, he's like, a bike messenger clipped me and knocked me down. And
Yeah, he was driving a bike that was made out of razor blades.
Yeah.
Apparently, like it's
I
like
said,
a sharp
but what
bicycle.
Because then Norman Osborn's like, oh, I
Yeah.
saw Spider-Man get that cut. That's obviously a lie because I'm a good liar.
What if it's like
What he should've
everyone in
said
the
is,
city who
like-
got a cut right there, and Norman Osborn's like, "How'd you get that cut?" And the guy's like, "Oh, I was cutting a steak." And I sliced myself, and then he sees another guy with that cut. He's like, "How'd you get that? Everyone is Spider-Man."
He goes to the emergency
and then he
room.
cuts himself by accident. He's like, "I'm Spider-Man," and he freaks out.
I said Peter could have just been like, if Peter really wanted to like throw him off, been like, well, Norman, I've been feeling very sad lately, and I've been cutting myself, and I didn't want to bring it up during Thanksgiving because I thought it was inappropriate. But
Oh
thanks for
my
pointing it
God,
out,
Tony.
Norman. This is very upsetting to everyone here. Norman would have been
Right.
like, oh my God, I'm so
Because
sorry.
Peter Parker is a dumbass.
Yeah.
You
Should
always
we-
go with the cutting yourself excuse.
Yeah. And then Norman would have been like, Peter, do you want to talk about it? Like, and
What if
everyone
he was
would
like,
have-
"I cut myself with the Green Goblin shit," spraying webs at him and stuff, and he just like,
Oh yeah, that would have saved the day. He just hits him right in the face.
but then fucking Osborn fucks up here too, because then he just leaves.
Yeah.
And it's like, come
And
on,
he-
you could
and then
at
he
least
goes,
stayed for one meal and left.
And then he goes, "Oh, and by the way, your girlfriend is a gold digging bitch," or whatever, in front of the whole
he
family
says,
at Thanksgiving.
do what you need to with her and broom her
Oh
fist.
my God, and that is
a lot
like-
of people think this is the Goblin talking. I just think he's just being a good dad.
Oh.
Giving good advice.
He says, "Broom her, like brush away." I thought it meant like broom her. You know what I mean?
Justin, what the fuck? How does that make any sense?
Broom her?
Yeah. What else would it? That's what I thought he meant.
What the fuck is broom other than like sweeping something with the broom?
Then they should say sweep her away. What have you ever said you're brooming?
I mean, I didn't, but I don't know what. That's what I'm saying is what other definition would you have for brooming? I've never.
What porn are you watching where you think brooming is a sexual act?
Oh, I thought you meant like impale her through the stomach with a broom and then be like, aha, or something.
No, I meant
like,
sexual. But I'm saying, like, you know, when you have a
That's
mop,
horrible.
when you have a mop, you're mopping. When you have a broom, you're not brooming, you're sweeping. He just said you sweep her away. He said you broom her away.
But if you say sweep her away, that means like I will sweep you away and we'll take you to
this is the
Hawaii
problem you have when you
or
have
something.
4 writers on one script. Weird lines are gonna fall in there.
I must broom my floor. It dirty.
No, and the reason I thought that is because she's really upset by what he said.
Yeah.
But I thought she was upset because he's like, oh, just fuck me and toss
Also
me away.
'cause, like, fucking-
I didn't realize it was, oh, just have fun and, you know, like, I don't know.
Harry just looks like a total puss throughout the whole movie too.
Yeah,
'cause
and
his
then
dad
Mary Jane's
says
like,
this.
why didn't you defend me? And
Mary
he's like,
Jane
that
rips
guy's
him
my
up.
dad.
And then she's also like, oh my God, Harry, you don't understand Spider-Man. Oh my God, I'm so wet for Spider-Man. And he's like, what? What are you talking about, Spider-Man? On the phone later.
Yeah, she wants to get broomed by Spider-Man.
I mean, not for anything. So say I'm a girl, okay? I get saved by Spider-Man and I'm with some normal douchebag. I would totally be like, yo. And also, Spider-Man's pretty cut. He's pretty ripped.
Oh, you would just
He's
bring it up all the
swinging
time.
me through the air.
Oh,
I don't think
Spider-Man would have taken the trash out. Like he
so
would have done
even
something like that.
as me right now, if I was falling off a building and Spider-Man saved me, I don't think I'd ever stop talking about it. I think I'd come into work and be like, yo, you guys, Spider-Man
You
saved me
seem
this
a little
weekend.
too in the Spider-Man.
I would.
No,
I think you want to get broomed by Spider-Man.
I'm with him. I would use that as like a thing
Tony
all
would
the
be
time.
like, Tony would never talk about Dark Knight Rises ever again. He'd just talk about, I'm very famous. Spider-Man saved me. Did you know that? Spider-Man. I'm Spider-Man's friend.
Yeah.
He saved me a week ago.
If you want, I can brag about trying on costumes for Avatar: The Last Airbender for one day.
My friend was in that, actually.
I never got to make it
He
in
was
it, but
one of the
I got
people.
paid to try on costumes. Anyway, I'm with you. I would just bring it up all the time. They're like, oh, well, Spider-Man would have picked me up something on the
I
way to
would
the
totally
store.
bring it up at all times.
Yeah.
And if I was a girl, I would totally want to throw it down on Spider-Man.
Oh, you know, Spider-Man would have taken the trash out. Spider-Man would have bought me that thing. Spider-Man could fuck me more than 5 minutes.
Oh.
You are pretty petty.
Spider-Man wouldn't let his dad bitch me out in front of his son.
The cunning warrior attacks neither body nor mind.
Tell me how!
The heart, Osborn. First, we attack his heart.
So, Norman knows Peter is Spider-Man,
Yeah.
so he attacks the heart. Osborn, attack the heart.
He scares Aunt May.
Yeah, so
half to
we were
death.
talking about. So he must be hovering outside the window, waiting for her to pray and waiting for the right moment.
I like thinking like Mary Jane's dad come out. He's like, you want a beer?
Yeah.
And then he just, he just
Yeah.
goes sleep. They wake up the next day, the whole town is just gas
What if
because they
she
keep seeing him.
wasn't? What if she wasn't going to do the Lord's Prayer though? What if she did some weird like she started praying to Satan or something like that instead?
Please,
And then
Dark
he's like-
Lord, bring my
Yeah.
husband back to me. I pledge.
Uncle Ben is evil. Yes.
But yeah, this is the famous finish it.
What if
Finish it!
What if Aunt May, instead of going and praying, started furiously masturbating?
Oh, she's brooming herself.
Well, then the Green Goblin would
And the Green
still
Goblin's
come
like,
in. The Green Goblin would come in toward the end. And
That
be like,
would be
"Finish it!"
even more. Could you imagine that? Like, and then they're like, you know, Peter's like, "What happened? What happened?" Well, your aunt was furiously masturbating, and the Green Goblin smashed her walls in. Not that way. He smashed the physical walls down. Like he didn't.
How come you get annoyed when we talk about that shit, but then you'll be like, Spider-Man was talking about his dick?
Because when I do it, it's fine.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Mary Jane the next day admits she's in love with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Peter again is fucking up. He's like, well, I'm friends with Spider-Man and he really likes you. And I said this about you and this about, like, no, Peter, what you're supposed to say is, oh, Spider-Man said he's in a committed relationship and not looking. But
With
he
the
thinks,
Lord?
With the Lord. But he thinks I'd be the perfect guy for you. He tells me all the time. Harry walks in on them.
Yeah.
And they react weirdly.
So this is the thing, too. I guess because they pull away, but, like, first off, if I was, like, my friend's aunt just had their house exploded by a monster man on a hover glider, and I came in and I saw my friend and my girlfriend, and I know that we've all been friends since childhood, and she's holding his hand. I'd be like, oh, she's comforting him. I can take it. And I'd be like, yo, man, you okay, dude? I wouldn't be like,
By the way,
wait. So your reaction is to walk in the room and go, "Yo, I can dig it."
No, I mean, I would be like, dude, are you cool? Like, or anything you need,
what's
man.
weird?
I'm rich as fuck. I'm Harry Osborn.
So you're telling me
I'll buy your Aunt May a fucking whatever. I don't know.
So you're telling me in the sequels, the cops apparently were still investigating Uncle Ben's death, but no one ever thought to say, like, hey, you know what's weird? Norman Osborn died the same night the Green Goblin went away, and he was friends with the Parkers, and Green Goblin attacked the Parkers' hat. Like, they never connected those dots.
And he came in with two weirdly large fucking wounds
Have you ever watched NYPD
area.
Blue?
Yeah.
It's, you know,
we have an autograph with the star of NYPD Blue. I have it hanging up on our set over there.
It looks like your dad.
Is that Dennis
Yes,
Franz?
Yeah, it's Dennis Franz. I have an autograph from him.
All the different divisions don't, they're not very good at talking to each other. There's a lot of clashing and a lot of one-upmanship. So I think that, where does he live? Like Queens or something?
Yeah.
And then like the Midtown stuff, I just think they didn't.
Also, they fixed that house up, like, by the next movie, the house looks fine.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He blows the whole
Wait, that means she spent all that money on repairs and then moved out?
What kind of fucking insurance do you get? Like, could you imagine being like, it's like, hello, yes, this is Progressive Insurance, homeowners insurance.
You were attacked by a goblin man on a hoverboard?
A goblin man on a hoverboard.
To be
blew
fair,
your walls off.
everyone saw that happen in Times Square.
That's true.
You think the little old lady's gonna lie about that?
Oh my god!
Or they think she is lying. She's like, she saw that on the news and blew up her house and tried to pin it on it.
We got some senile old woman calling up about a green goblin.
Yeah, right, lady. We're not covering this.
I was sitting saying my prayers, and like, yeah, right. She was probably furiously masturbating right before bed.
Kieran, you've ruined this. Every time I watch this movie now, all I'm gonna think about is Aunt May furiously masturbating.
I'm really glad.
When she's praying to the Lord, do you see both hands?
Yeah, you do.
She
she's
is like
this.
that.
Except for when she's like, from evil. She could be doing it there. Oh, this is horrible to say.
Anyway,
there's a lot of hand-free options.
Aunt May tells Aunt May tells Peter, why don't you just tell Mary Jane you like her? Everyone fucking knows.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? It's like, yeah, it's pretty fucking obvious you have a boner for her. She doesn't say it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if Kieran wrote the script,
like,
she would say it like that.
You said Aunt May? Is that an angel? And he's like, gee, I said that, Aunt May.
Peter, one day I caught you furiously masturbating while looking into her window.
She couldn't wait till Uncle Ben was good and dead and out of that fucking house. Second he was gone.
Yeah, she probably was like, I doubt Uncle Ben was keeping it, keeping it going.
So, he realizes if everyone knows he loves Mary Jane, then the Green Goblin must know. And he calls her, and Green Goblin's like,
Can Spider-Man come out to play?
Then we get this big finale at the bridge.
He's like, I saw your Aunt May's pussy. He says on the phone. It was really weird.
Yeah, I can't handle this anymore.
I wish we could use all this for the teaser, but we can't put it in the first minute.
Too, Jessica. I'm really, really, really sorry that you're editing this. I'm saying these horrible, horrible things.
Now, are you crying because it's funny or because these are sad?
I feel bad that I'm just, oh my God, I'm saying these horrible things.
So we get to the bridge scene, and again, this is them mixing Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy together. Because famously, Gwen Stacy died on the bridge in that comic. Green Goblin does the sadistic choice.
Yep.
That thing's not real. Is it? The fucking, what are they on?
The cable car thing?
Yeah, is that real? I've never seen that.
I thought Roosevelt Island wasn't one you really go. Isn't that where they bury all the dead in New York? It's like a whole thing.
I think so. Oof. But anyway, he gets a cable car and he has both of them and he does the sadistic choice.
Mm-hmm.
Sophie's Choice.
Yeah,
Let
but the
die
movie
the woman you love.
or suffer the little children. I love that
And
we
the
have this
person
movie
who's also-
memorized.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the movie doesn't have the balls to like go through with it. So
Yeah.
he saves both of them. That'd be like in Dark Knight if he like picked up Harvey Dent and then grabbed her.
All three would have died if it wasn't for the good people of New York.
Yes.
He didn't think about them.
Well, no, the point is Spider-Man didn't choose. He just saved both of them.
Right.
Because they were afraid to have him actually choose, obviously.
Right, but to be fair, he went for her first.
Yeah, but I think he
Yeah,
knew
so
that
that
he
was a
could
little-
get both, and I think he was like, I can catch her faster than I can catch.
Oh
this
yeah, there's
thing
no
and
way
then
he could
her.
catch the cable car
Yeah.
and then get her.
He had to
It's
do
a
one or
little-
the one
It's a little heavy.
first.
Although, how fucking strong is the Green Goblin? Because like Spider-Man's struggling, Green Goblin's like, hey, I got this cable car.
Well,
What's up?
I mean, the Green Goblin seemed like he was stronger than Spider-Man physically because I
Yeah.
mean, he punched Spider-Man at that one point, like
That's
knocked
true.
him, made Spider-Man.
Although Spider-Man's
fly back.
pretty strong too. Remember, he like punched him, webbed him, and then punched
Yeah,
him
but
again.
he punched him, but he didn't fly back. But it was enough to hit him and hurt him. But if you think about it too, like
Oh, yeah, Spider-Man went through, like, 10
caught
walls
him,
when he got
and he
punched.
caught his fist and was like impressive, and
Yeah.
then fucking knocked Spider-Man way back.
Well, someone said impressive. It definitely wasn't the Green Goblin because his lips were not
Yeah,
moving in that
yeah.
shot.
Impressive!
So that means there's just someone with
it
the
was
same
Willem
voice
Dafoe
as Willem
weeks
Dafoe.
later in a room, in a padded room.
Norman Osborn has a twin brother who happened to be there. Went, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, he saves the cable car, Mary Jane, and then the people of New York come together, and everyone loves this scene because it shows an America being united against evil. And if you have a problem with this scene, then you have a problem with America uniting against evil.
Yo, I loved this scene.
Thank
when it
you,
happened
Kieran.
as a kid.
Justin, what do you think about this scene? Do you hate America uniting against evil?
I'm united against it. United we stand.
Okay.
So I
Everyone
like
loves
the part in it where the guy says like, you know, before he says like you mess with us, he goes like, "What's your problem? You mess with a bunch of little kids?" Because it's like true. It's like, man, Green Goblin, like you're a fucking asshole, dude. Like you're gonna
Oh.
kill kids. Like no one likes
something
you.
interesting when I was I would go to random like random weird small drugstores or like weird party stores, and I look for random crap like back in the day, like buying like Batman Forever, party hats and just dumb shit that you find in those places. And they had a balsa wood World Trade Center that you build, and it said "United We Stand" on it, and I'm like, well, that's fucking tacky, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at the date.
Oh, I remember. I went to New York,
and I looked at the date. It was from '97.
Oh,
so I think the "United We Stand," what they, like the phrase that everyone came up with after 9/11. I think they did that for the actual when it was. When there was the bombing the first time.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
but I just remember it post.
Not to be a downer, but I went to when I was in the Boy Scouts, we went to a funeral for one of the firefighters in November of 2001, and there were a lot of people trying to capitalize on that shit, like selling commemorative things like on the streets. It's like,
that's
all
kinda
right, guys,
messed up.
can we wait a year at
Yeah,
least?
right.
Like, we're
Where
doing
were
this.
you when Green Goblin attacked Times Square?
But yeah, so a trash barge comes
Yep.
so the cable car can land safely, and it's the star of Cannibal Holocaust and Debbie Does Dallas. Just famous porn and schlocky horror actor. He's just there.
That's kind of cool. Does he know Sam Raimi or something?
Well, Sam Raimi probably knows him from all the horror stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of like horror Easter eggs.
And he's like, "Yo, come on into my movie. I'm making
Yeah.
Spider-Man."
Or did he audition and he was just the best
And
part
also-
of it? Are you the guy from Cannibal Holocaust?
Yeah,
sure,
right,
you can be.
maybe.
And it wasn't just a trash barge. It was like cardboard, like bales of
Yeah.
cardboard, so it could land perfectly onto it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Now, the problem with this scene is the CGI. Even though it's at night, it's still hit or miss. Like, it gets real rubbery.
Yeah.
They're lit wrong in certain shots. It's a little dodgy here and there.
I don't think I think this was still at that point where CG was new, like newish. It was still
Yeah.
kind of in its infancy. It was probably like a preteen.
This is 2002. This is less than 10 years after
But
Jurassic.
that's what I
Well,
mean.
you gotta
Like,
think about it. It's between Matrix and Matrix 2.
Yeah.
And you kind of see what happened. That was
and
a very
Matrix,
messy time.
I don't feel like really relied on CG
Not
as
the
much
first
as
one.
the other ones.
No, not the first one.
No, the first one was mostly it was digital. Like it was
This-
a lot of practical stuff with enhanced.
This is that
CGI.
period from here to like maybe like 2007. We were getting a lot of rubbery CGI.
Yeah.
Daredevil is probably the worst offender.
Also, Blade, I think, or Blade 2.
2.
It was. There's that scene where they're sword fighting, and it looks
love Blade 2, but whenever it cuts to those
it's
CGI
bad, yeah.
rubber dummies,
it's really rough.
It's bad.
And
Catwoman's another terrible one. Catwoman's awful.
In my opinion, the worst is Matrix Reloaded. When you see the scene where he's fighting all the Agent
guys
Smiths
with the stick,
and
I rewatched that recently in
it closes
4K.
up on him. It looks
Yeah,
terrible.
I rewatched it again in 4K, and it's sad because those movies are like, the stories are okay, but the way they tell them suck, and shit like that just takes you right out of the movie.
The thing that sucks is the scene, the fight scene itself could have been awesome if they just didn't do that. But also, there's the scene where he's in the Merovingian's house and he's fighting all the dudes on the stairwell.
Yeah, and that scene looks fine.
Scene is incredible. And then it goes on to that awesome motorcycle chase.
I wish. I wish. As much as I hate special editions and stuff, I wouldn't mind if people went back to those films and made them less rubbery.
Honestly,
as long as they give us the option to watch the original cut, because we should preserve it.
I would rather see that, because honestly, that took me out of the movie. When I saw it in theaters, and I saw that scene with all the Agent Smiths, it looked like such ass.
At least in this Spider-Man, that didn't take me out of the movie.
No, it didn't in this, and because they didn't do it so. First off, it was quick. Everything was a quick scene. There was very slowdowns.
They did it. There's not too many slow motion where you can see every detail of what's wrong with it.
Well, he also does a lot of close-ups to the characters, too.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think helps? They're also not wearing flowy clothing.
Yeah.
Like, Neo's
Honestly, it was more Neo's
jacket,
face for me. When they closed
Neo's
up
jacket
on his
was
face.
terrible. Yeah, and they didn't have to worry about the face either.
Like cloth simulation, all that stuff.
It's terrible.
Sometimes it's still an issue.
Yeah.
But anyway, the fight inside the old building is awesome.
Yep.
And I love
Roosevelt Island.
On Roosevelt
where
Island.
they buried New York's dead.
Yes. Is Green Goblin still trying to recruit him? Why didn't he use the disintegrating bomb? Why did he use the regular fire bomb?
We were saying he might have been using the disintegrator bomb, but Spider-Man is strong enough to withstand it.
I'll give you that, but that means his clothes would have disintegrated.
But his clothes
turned to
were
dust.
made of tensile material.
No, because then that means, if we're going in continuity here, Venom, why did he get disintegrated? Is he not strong?
Wait, don't spoil the third one. I haven't seen it yet.
But Venom dies.
Whoa!
Actually, a piece of him still exists with Dr. Connors.
Yeah.
They never followed up on that.
Not only, but that whole franchise died also too. So.
Man,
well, it's coming back now.
Yeah, that's true.
I keep blending the Dr. Connors from Amazing Spider-Man, so now it's like weird for me.
Yeah. But yeah, the last fight is cool. This is where they remove his mask because you need to convey some kind of emotion. This is kind of an important scene.
Yeah.
It's like a half.
I like that they at least did the half mask. After this, it's like, oh, I got to take my mask off for this. It's like, all right, well, do you?
It's half and half. It kind of looks like Newt.
No, I mean, well, because that's the thing. If we do Spider-Man 2, we got to talk about that at some point.
Yeah. Johanna requests she be in this because be in that because she's thirsty for Alfred Molina.
That's
of all people. Alfred Molina?
Was he ever a Bond villain? He'd make a good Bond villain.
No, he was a bad guy in Indiana Jones.
Right.
Yeah.
Which one?
He's in the very first Indiana Jones. He's the one who steals the idol and then gets killed by the trap.
Yeah.
Oh,
Throw
that's
me the
him?
idol. Throw
I
me the whip.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
Holy
Alfred Molina.
shit. Wow. Crazy.
He's also in Species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Species, you mean?
Yeah, I said species. I used to say species.
Not that you care, but in Mass Effect 3, there are bad guys. They're called Banshees. They are Reaper creatures created from the Adak-Yakshi Asari. And it looks exactly like Species alien.
Screaming
what
like
was her name
Banshees.
in the first one?
Tasha Henstridge. I don't know.
That was the actress. I figured her name in the first one. I know in the second one it's Eve.
But
anyway.
But I was playing the game.
Species.
I'm like, wait, that looks exactly like I just totally forgot. I'm like, look, put it up side by side.
Does it have nipple tentacles like Species?
Not tentacles, but there's nips.
That was my favorite part of Species, the nipple
So was she
tentacles.
like an alien or something in Species? I never actually watched it.
Aliens send abroad. No, we'll talk about Species another time. We got to get back to this.
I love Species.
Anyway, the Goblin tries to trick Peter because he reveals who he is.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, Peter, I'm just Norman. My brain doesn't work.
And he's
Help
like, you
me.
killed all those people, Mr. Osborn.
He was having a bad mental health day.
You watched my aunt
Furious.
pray.
Eat, pray, love.
Furiously pray.
And furiously pray.
Yeah, so he tries to trick Peter. No, I'm sneezing.
Oh, well,
Bless.
probably it's the smell of the dead corpses rotting here.
That is true. You know what?
Stinky dead people.
I'm kind of proud of us for really ignoring the decomposing bodies. And realistically, we probably should have called and alerted someone, but we'll get to it afterwards.
Well, the smell of my own body odor really just makes me nose blind to the smell of anything else.
Oh, okay.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Yeah, so he tries to trick him. Spider-Man dodges out of the way and he gets impaled by his glider, which is what happened in the comics.
Impaled in the cock area.
Yeah, we realized the glider's really, and the
down
blades are at the bottom of the glider.
Yeah, so it's
down. So yeah, what's the artery in your groin?
the femoral artery.
Femoral artery. Because he dies pretty quick. That thing bled out.
There's also the penile artery where he was probably hit too.
Yeah. Well, there are like 4 or 5 blades on
Yeah.
it. So
It was very like Signs.
Yeah.
Swing away, Meryl. Yeah.
That's probably too what it might have been.
I think
was,
that's
like,
also in
it
in
was
Hannibal.
probably crushing his entire bones and everything.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think the Hannibal Lecter in Hannibal, he severed a guy's femoral artery. Because the guy's like, he went for my balls and missed. It's like, no, he knew where he was going, and the guy bleeds out.
Well, that's why they say when they're like, what, shoot him in the leg. It's like, no, because you could easily hit the femoral artery is huge. Same thing. You have one in here too. Your brachial artery.
Yeah.
Is in your arm, and it's the same thing.
But yeah, so it's very sad because, like, I guess as he's dying, like the real Norman comes out. He's like, "Oh God, don't tell Harry.
Don't tell Harry.
Please don't tell Harry." But yeah, Harry sees Spider-Man laying him in the bed.
Yep.
And all Spider-Man has to say is, "Hey, the Green Goblin killed your dad."
Yeah.
And stripped him naked for some reason. His dying wish was that I bring him back home. And he also said he loved you.
Yeah.
And you were his greatest
Oh, and then he
achievement.
also said, "Oh, and by the way, I banged Mary Jane." Swip, whip, whip. And there he goes.
But the thing is, Harry Osborn's not a dumbass, unlike Mary Jane, who doesn't recognize Peter's voice.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "What was that? What'd you say?"
That's why the new Spider-Man has that voice changer.
Yeah.
Oh, and also like that Norman Osborn just keeps a Walter PPK just in a tiny drawer in his office.
Harry pulls the gun on him. But
what if like the maids are cleaning and they're like, "Oh, we gotta clean this drawer." It's like, "Oh, the gun's in there."
Gun. I mean, they might be used to it already.
That's his Second Amendment right. What's your fucking
Also,
problem?
he has.
But aren't
he
you,
does have that
as a
one
responsible
butler.
gun owner, aren't you supposed to leave it unloaded in a safe that's
Yeah, but
locked?
maybe Harry, maybe they got to shoot people once in a while.
Well, how do you know it was loaded? He never shot it.
That's true.
Maybe it was like a diversion.
Maybe he thought, like maybe he could.
And
just
also,
trick him.
so Harry walks in the room, Spider-Man leaves, right? And then it cuts to the funeral and all that stuff. So he walks up, goes over to his dad. His genitals and legs are smashed in.
I can see why Harry's like upset. It's like, Spider-Man killed my dad, and also he stabbed him in the dick and groin.
He fucked his dad to death.
He has fucking blade wounds all over his weenus.
And Harry doesn't know. What if Spider-Man has spider
the
fangs? He has
bones
no
are-
idea.
Like his pelvis bones are probably crunched.
But
into
I like
dust
so
at this
realistically,
point, too.
Norman should have been bleeding out, so he might have been drained of blood. He's like, I think
Well, he,
Spider-Man
he,
sucked all the
takes
blood from my dad
blanket
like a
off of his
spider.
He might take the blanket off his legs, and then there's just blood all down it, like
I like
dried,
thinking
crusty
that
blood.
Spider-Man tried to piece them back together. Oh, oopsie daisy.
But yeah, so Harry hates Spider-Man, but he loves Peter.
Yeah.
And Mary Jane also loves Peter. She's like, when I was up there, I was thinking about you. And it's like, okay. But then she's like, I'm in love with you. It's like, whoa, slow down.
And then he's like, hold on, Mary Jane. You know what they always say? A hero can save us.
Yeah, he goes full MGTOW.
Yeah.
He does.
He's taking care of
MGTOW.
himself.
God, if I can go back in time, young Tony, the Tony I said earlier that was really sad that his friend dated that girl. Wish I can go back in time and say, hey, don't worry about that girl.
Like,
be MGTOW. And I'll be like, what's
you
MGTOW?
can
Like,
go
don't worry about
your own way. Go your tone way.
But yeah, he turns her down to protect her from his enemies. Because as we learned in this movie, when your enemies find out who you are, they'll go after people.
Oh, it's SMGTOW. Spider-Man going his own way.
You know what would be funnier is if at the end of this scene, when he turns around and walks, if it started going, here I go again on my own. Like if you just placed that in
also,
instead.
Couldn't they go to a coffee shop or something? Like you have to like do your hit on him thing at the guy's grave.
That's true.
Of
And
the
it's like,
guys whose pelvis you just destroyed.
Yeah, my dad.
No. Oh yeah, they are there
We
for
just
that.
laid my dad to rest, and now I'm watching my friend make out with my ex-girlfriend as my dad is not even cold yet.
Let's say it worked out. And Peter Parker's like, that sounds great. And they start making out and stuff. Norman Osborn 6 feet under the ground there.
Yeah, Harry should be like, hey, could you not make out with my ex-girlfriend at my dad's funeral? That's kind of fucked.
Yeah, that's really tasteless.
Like, we freshly broke up. It's been less than a week.
Yeah.
Please don't make out with my ex-girlfriend at my dad's fucking funeral. But yeah, the final speech is great.
This is my gift. My curse. Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
Apparently, Andrew Garfield would recite the speech when he was training to be an actor. He actually got interviewed by Tobey Maguire when the first Amazing Spider-Man came out, and they were talking about their experiences. And that would have been cool stuff to ask them about, but they are both unfortunately dead.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Brothers.
But yes, that was Sam Raimi Spider-Man. I love it.
I do too.
I still think it's great. I like the new Spider-Man movies. They're definitely a little bit more comic booky, the new ones. With him, that's the one thing this movie was missing, him interacting with the other superheroes.
Yeah.
Because there's Spider-Man's first appearance, but the first issue of Spider-Man, his solo comic, is him hanging out with the Fantastic Four. So that's stuff we missed in the Sam Raimi ones, but I think these are really good, self-contained universe.
I kind of prefer that. I wasn't too big on the world building, even in the comic books.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the DC stories.
It was, I mean, I love how they made up that model in the 60s. Like, let's just cross over all our characters so you have to read all the books. And now the movies years later are like, let's cross over all our movies. I don't want to see Shang-Chi. Well, Abomination is in it. I'm like, well, I guess I will. I'm not, but that's
Hulk movie?
Huh?
Abomination?
Yeah, he's back in Shang-Chi, and he actually looks like the Abomination. He has like the ears and stuff.
Whoa.
And the Mandarin's in it, the real Mandarin. Because in Shang-Chi, his dad is Fu Manchu, and they clearly were not going to do that for their major movie.
Is Fin Fang Foom in it?
I don't know.
Not in China.
I don't know. Wait, he's a dragon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he would totally be in China. They love dragons. That's why Paul W.S. Anderson screwed up when he did Monster Hunter, and he threw in that racist joke that got the movie kicked out of China, where that was the one country it had to play in to make its money, and then it bombed spectacularly.
Well, it was awful looking either way.
It was awful, but Chinese audiences, they don't care about the video game lore. They like movies with dragons. So he put in that offensive joke, and they're like, get this movie out of the country. And it's like, but that's the only country that was going to see it.
Why did they do that?
It was
I don't know how that joke, I guess they were like, oh, an Asian character saying it'll be okay. It's like, let's not risk it.
I wonder who the writer is who wrote that, because you know that like trickled down.
I think
the
it was
ladder
Paul W.S. Anderson.
Oh, maybe. Paul W.S. Anderson is such a douchebag.
Oh,
I mean, he had some hits, but he's such a douche.
New Kids on the Block had a lot of hits.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to finish.
I almost said it.
Finish
I didn't realize.
Finish
it. From evil.
But yeah, I love this movie. I love the sequel. You like 3.
I like all of them, yeah.
I gotta watch 3 now.
I'm going to rewatch. So my opinion last time I saw it, which was like 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
3, I don't think it's a good movie. And we mentioned this in Spider-Verse. I think it was a bigger disappointment though. Like when I watched it recently, now that I wasn't let down, now I knew what to expect. I'm like, all right, this movie's not great, but it's definitely not the worst thing
honestly,
ever.
I think it's actually way better than people give it credit for. I think
the problem is it came out after 2.
Yeah,
and that was like one of the best.
And also, it was, you know, I think I think all the characters are great. I think actually like the dynamic between Peter and Mary Jane and Harry Osborn, especially like when Harry like,
except for that awful scene with Harry and the butler that has to explain everything.
So the one part that always there's a part in it that actually, so it's almost kind of like the second happening of Uncle Ben, where yet again Peter says things to someone who passes away, and it's the last things he really says to the guy, and it's like pretty rough. I think Spider-Man 3 is incredible. I think it's actually really good.
But I'm glad because it was supposed to come out in 2011, Spider-Man 4, and they couldn't agree on a script or whatnot. So it got wiped away, but now these characters are coming back in some form in the new movie.
I do. Well, one thing I'm thankful for is every time they do a Spider-Man retelling, they usually do the origin in some way. So I get to see Uncle Ben die again and again and again, which I love.
Well, no, not in the MCU. They just mention it.
Oh, but he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
I'm hoping we see him dead in No Way
I like
Home.
that they don't even show him get bit by a spider. It's just mentioned in Spider-Man Homecoming. He's like, what happened to the spider? Oh, the spider's dead. Anyway.
Well, they don't even really mention Uncle Ben, too. They say the whole thing where he's like, when I don't use my powers, bad things happen. And you're like, oh,
and there's
Uncle
that line
Ben.
in Homecoming where Aunt May's like, you can't just not call after what we've been through, because she's like still getting over it. But yeah, that was really, really good. And speaking of No Way Home, I know my last two surprises ended pretty badly, guys. But guess what? Spider-Man No Way Home, they're shooting reshoots at the building next door. And Disney and Marvel actually invited us to go see them film a stunt. We're going to see Tom Holland do a stunt.
Whoa, what?
I know. I hope nothing bad happens. Let's go. All right, guys, we're here on set. It's some kind of abandoned factory. It reminds me of Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock's hangout. And Tom Holland's about to do a stunt right now. There he goes. Oh my God!
I never really cared for Tom Holland.
That's a spicy meatball. I don't know.